No, Lisa, you're right. It is tonight. Don't worry. You haven't come early. You're not here late. Everybody's in at the right time, including you. So don't worry about it. Hey, how's it going? It's us again. All three of us. Say hi, guys.
Come as you were. I was good at and that Wes Scantlin face where he's like, the best video ever.
Wes.
The best video ever.
What is up, Twitchies?
Lisa's shots fired. Kyle does not have a problem with any drum production. I will have. How dare you?
Never. I love all drums. All drums are not created equal, though.
Some are created in computers.
Some are created in computers. Raps were good. I liked that song. I listened to the whole thing like 15 times. It was great.
The drum killer.
The drum killer.
The drum killer. I like that one a lot. Oh.
Thanks, Lisa. The Halloween one.
Was it Halloween? I thought it was
Great
like a
shot.
kind of Hawaiian thing.
Well, it's a Hawaiian shirt, but it's Halloween, yeah. It's got fucking pumpkins and Dr. Loomis on it.
Oh, right.
Oh, Dr. Loomis, I shot him 6 times!
thought it
Here we
was
go
like
right
fucking
again. Fuck's sake, Donald Pleasance.
Margaritas and pina coladas and that.
Do you like pina coladas?
I do. I
And
do that.
pissing into the wind. What?
No, getting caught in the rain. Which might be piss,
Oh.
actually, if you're pissing into the wind, so...
Very professional.
Well, that's... we're not having that, then. Shirtless it is.
I love
I don't want to
it.
be the... I'm not going to be the professional one on this show.
Oh,
Fuck
God, not
that.
shirtless. Oh, I'm done. I mean, oh no. I mean, what am I talking about? Not
I mean, I'm going to be asking this question a lot tonight. Do you know where you are?
to.
Welcome to the jungle, punk, and take a look around.
So
Metal
Duncan
Epidemic
got new
fucking
metal.
up
Who
your
could guess?
I almost raked out. They're up the loft. Almost raked out the old Powerman 5000 goggles.
Oh,
Almost.
Amazing.
Almost. I was so fucking close to doing it. I was like, yes, get these fucking goggles on.
I like it.
Nobody's real and they're willing to let you know. Which is the Tom Jones version of that song. I would fucking pay cold hard cash for Tom Jones to do a cover of Nobody's Real by Powerman 5000.
that would be insane.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear that. That'd be
Yeah.
crazy.
I know nobody's free, but they're willing to let you go. You know
We
what
were
I
just
mean?
talking
That'd be
before
amazing.
before we went live. We were just talking about the Dallas theme tune
Yes.
and how no one's done a metal cover of that yet.
It could
Quite
happen.
like hear that.
Yeah, Lisa, I'm just saying your husband is writing stuff. In case you've forgotten how it goes. Da, 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 da. You can do it.
See, it's in your head now.
Oh, John's in here. Hi, John.
Hi, John.
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 John let me know that there's a whole phenomenon out there called yoga pants porn, which I didn't know anything about, and it's kind of interesting.
Do tell.
All I'm going to say is further research required.
Okay.
All right. If you take that job, I'll be very grateful.
Further research.
Excellent.
In-depth, some would say forensic.
Forensic.
Yeah,
Yep.
black leg optional.
Are we only 10 minutes in? Oh God, has it been that? Is it only that been 10 minutes?
I mean, I've not mentioned my penis yet, so we're doing well.
Oh,
no,
10 minutes and
haven't actually.
41 seconds in.
That's
you can
a bit of a
timestamp
record.
that.
Raven says, "What are we drinking?
What we
What's
drinking?
What are
I
you
got,
drinking?
I got whiskey and coke.
Whiskey
Famous
and Coke.
grouse, which I believe lives in Scotland.
Oh, the famous grouse.
Yeah. Well, you did put something in it, which is good. Cause
Yeah,
had you mentioned something like a nice whiskey, and then I saw you were mixing it, I would be leaving just now
Yeah.
on a plane over to Norway.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
even that
okay.
expensive famous grouse, the one that's not in the plastic bottles, that needs mixing too.
Yeah. No, I'd like one day when you're over, when you come over and we go and we shug it up or whatever band we're going to see. When you come over, me and you will go for a nice whiskey, and all will be right in the world.
Hey.
But yeah, if you're gonna have like grouse is perfect to mix it.
Yeah, it's great.
You know,
It's like
you
Red
put
Label.
something dark in there. Get some ginger ale in it.
Oh, that'd be
Ginger
nice,
ale,
yeah.
slice of lime.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That's all I had in the fridge. I haven't been out to the store yet.
Posh
So.
cunt.
Yeah.
Ginger ale.
Yes, Kyle,
Ginger
come to
ale and a
Scotland.
slice of lime.
I feel like
Get
if I go
yourself
to
a fuck, son.
Scotland, I'm going to be mobbed the minute I get there by like every person I know, because half of the people I know are in Scotland.
I'm still trying to work my head out here, like how ginger ale is posh.
Ginger ale and a slice of lime.
It's cheaper than a can of Coke.
See yourself out, son.
I don't think it's the expense. I think it's the effort.
Ginger.
We're going to be in a bar though. It's no effort for them.
Yeah, true. They sliced
Maybe
the lime earlier that
a
day.
bottle or something like that. It's not as if they're. Right, anyway, we're getting sidetracked already.
I am on the most metal of drinks.
I
The brew.
Oh, the original one.
The original.
Yeah. What are you on,
Lisa
Duncan?
says that she is on Coke tonight. That's cola.
Alright,
Just
okay.
in case anyone. Well, I can read it. You can't.
Lisa's on there. Coke.
They can't be drunk. She's writing to clients. I mean,
You don't have to
you
be
could
drunk.
be.
Yeah.
You could be, but
Hey, you got a
it
little
goes from pleasant, nice Lisa saying, you know, if you have a couple of minutes, could you please look over this to get it fucking done? Get it done! Got 2 kids and a husband, maintaining a house and running this shit, and you can't read an email? Get it fucking done! Get it done! If you want to write that to your clients,
Sign it, Duncan McLeish.
blame me. Everyone blames me for everything. So.
Sir Duncan, what are you drinking?
Tonight I'm on passion fruit absolute vodka with the orange and passion fruit mixer because
See?
I'm posh. See, that's a posh
cunt.
drink.
That is a posh drink.
Ginger ale
Posh
and whiskey
cunt drink.
is literally the least posh thing that's ever been mentioned in this show.
Ken, posh cunt.
That is a
cunt's drink.
posh drink. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Even I think that's a posh drink. It's like you've not only have you just bought a posh vodka and a posh mixer, you've matched them as well.
Well, I'm trying to maintain a relatively low cal approach
Okay.
to everything at the moment because we are T minus. I went off the wagon for a couple of weeks and ate like a fat bastard, and now I am T minus just over 2 months until I turn 40, and I want to be, as the kids call it, svelte and point like a tiger.
I don't think there are any kids left that say toy like a tiger.
Well, they do. It's just that they have been locked in a bunker, and all they've been given is Austin Powers 3 gold.
Jesus.
So,
Imagine that being the only movie you could watch for the past 30 years. Fuck.
oh, I'd be dead.
Yeah,
I would have been gone. I've been
yeah.
gone a while ago.
Yep.
100%. But yeah, what about everyone's drinking? So everyone's drinking. We've got all the drinks handed out the way. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Bit of Coke, bit of
Bit
brew,
efficient.
Bit of whiskey.
Yoga
bit of posh
porn.
cunt's drink.
Lisa
Bit-
should
bit of-
get drunk, get in touch with her
bit of
clients, razz them. Anything
Excellent.
else?
Lisa's
Something?
avoiding drinking, so she's gone straight for the Coke.
I mean, it'll help you write an email.
Yeah. Or
You might wanna-
700.
You might want to proofread it and grammar check it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that if you're on Coke and you write an email, you don't put in many commas or full stops.
It's just
Bongs
one
later when I
sentence.
rejoin the
Like,
husband.
train of thought. So there we go. Yeah, so
later.
Lisa,
Brings you back to it,
bongs
yeah.
later when she rejoins husband. I get a feeling if you do a bong then write an email, it's just a lot of dot 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 dot. Maybe.
It'll probably be a very
Dot, dot, dot.
insightful email about how you think, followed by whatever key you hit last in the email, just repeated because he fell asleep on there.
Are you aware 300 years ago this message would have been sent to you by carrier pigeon?
Yeah.
And on the airwaves, the digital airwaves.
Wrote the
There
boss
you are.
Colloid Prescott completely stoned. That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
We love
Explains
Boss
everything.
Colloid.
Yeah. Oh my
Boss
God.
Colloid scored relatively well, I think it's safe to say, from the mid-year point for Metal Epidemic.
Yeah.
All 3 of our top 10 lists for the
Yeah.
year so far.
Yeah.
Everyone loves it though. Like as I said in the top 10 thing, I don't think I've read one negative review of that album.
I think you would. I said that. I think you would have to have something wrong with you if you didn't like it.
It's super good.
You know what I mean? Like you physically, I think you'd have to be reaching for the most obscure thing ever. Like England invaded my country in 1943, so we don't like it now. You know, something along those lines. But yeah, really, really, really good. Really, really, really.
I'm not a big fan of England, but yeah, even I like that album.
Are they English? Are they Welsh? English? Welsh?
I tend to think from
English, I don't know.
English. At least that'll keep us right. I should
Yeah.
read that press release that you wrote.
Stone.
I'll do it.
It's just one big sentence, Duncan.
Wigan.
So,
Wigan? How do you say that word? Wigan.
vegan?
Vegan. I've gone on
Oh,
Norwegian.
Wigan.
Sorry.
There you go. From Wigan. They're Wigan.
Norwegian.
Yeah.
No.
Wigan. Were they the band that did?
Make a lot of pies. Explains their album cover.
Not either. I was thinking, was Wigan the band that did Saturday Night and the air is getting hot? Was that not Wigan? No.
Wakefield, Duncan. Come on.
Wakefield, sorry. Well, I mean, that Wakefield sounds like a place in England as well.
Could be. Could be.
That's where you get toupees from. Harvest them at the right time, though. So,
Wakefield, nice.
it's literally dad jokes all night. There you are.
Yes, it is.
There's your dinner on a plate. There we go.
Let's get this bad boy in.
Oh,
So,
I feel like I'm in over my head for some reason. I don't know. Just all this talk going right by me, like, hi.
I'm just pouring the wee
this will
drink,
bring you
boys.
back in. I mean, I was really enjoying the album, the composition, and then I heard the drums say, "So fucking wrong!"
Fucking hell, Kyle.
What's up, Starry? What? Am I allowed to hate drums?
Kyle, you need to rein it in.
No.
You need to rein it in just a
absolutely
bit.
not. No, not even
You
a
can
little bit.
rain it in and rain blood.
These fucking
Jesus,
bands
man.
need to have some pride in their goddamn artwork.
I'm having to fucking edit reviews, fucking.
Fuck 'em. Good, I'm
So I'm
glad.
gonna get blacklisted, Kyle. That fucking. I was editing. Was that yesterday? The Burning Hell. Oh, Jesus, Kyle. man. Jesus, Kyle.
Well, if they'd
I
used a
bet-
real drum kit, I wouldn't have to yell at them.
That wasn't even the worst bit, Kyle. I had to cut a couple of bits for that review.
Is
Kyle.
that the bit where he
Like,
actually said, hopefully this isn't what you do as a full-time job, hang it up?
Yep.
Yeah. I remember that bit. It was one of my favourite bits. I think you can actually physically see in my eyes a bit where I'm like that. Well, that's not going to make the final. That's not going to make the final review. That's not going to be in there.
Oh,
That's not going to
Jesus.
be in
I'm
there.
so glad I have an editor to take care of this.
I love the idea of there's just a sea of musicians and label people out there that have the Steve Buscemi list from Billy Madison, where it's just like a list of people that bullied them at high school. You know, like guy who gave me a wedgie, you know, guy who shat in my lunchbox, Kyle, guy who reviewed my album. You know what I mean? Just like in the list. So I mean, it's getting 2 steps away from when like COVID is completely gone and we can start traveling the world freely again. That the Metal Epidemic is going to have to go on an apology to.
Yeah.
Just visiting venues before the band comes on. We may have said some controversial things. However, like Kyle will have to be behind the pop glass, you know, that bulletproof shit,
Yeah.
just in case someone takes a shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
COVID
I'll have to
scheme.
be his spokesman. Like,
Yeah.
I am the attorney for Kyle, speaking on behalf of him, he's press secretary. Kyle wants to say that whilst his opinions on the drum production haven't changed that much, he does feel that some of the rhetoric in that review
But
was
like-
maybe a bit harsh.
If any of them own one of these, I'll be very surprised.
Oh.
I mean, you don't need a drumstick when you've got an enter key.
No.
Oh.
Well, I never said that. He said that.
It's recorded now, Duncan. It's recorded now.
He said that. I'm
He's
his
Clip
pads
it.
over here.
Someone
look.
clip that.
That's all you need. There you go. Use these pads.
I'm his spokesperson. That's what Kyle said to me off air in a written statement.
One of them, one did message me the other day. Who was it that messaged?
Just all these drummers having to record themselves playing things on video clips to send to Dave to prove that they actually played on the fucking album.
Yeah.
I mean, it's brutal.
In fact, the one that they actually sent, it was Moon Reaper that sent me a message about it.
Oh yeah.
And we didn't even really talk much about the drum sound on that, but they sent a message to say, we're really sorry, it was actually programmed drums on that release. We couldn't get the drummer in the studio, so we had to do it programmed. But we didn't even really slate it at all. Kyle never really like went in on it hard at all.
I
but-
probably said there was some studio fuckery or something.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's what he said, yeah. But they messaged just to clarify it was programmed drums.
Fucking heard it. Knew it. But if they couldn't get the drummer, then that's a little bit of leeway. But what's up with the
COVID.
drummer?
COVID.
Ah, well, yeah, forget about COVID.
Yeah. International
Oh.
pandemic that happened last year that forced people to stay apart from each
Well,
other.
it didn't change my life that much because I'm always in my house anyway. So I'm like,
True.
yeah. I'm just like, life as usual. Except now,
Yeah.
everyone else is here too.
They don't watch this stream, I can tell that.
So anyway, gentlemen, well, we're here for something. What are we here for?
Wait, was that an
Uh,
official warning, by the way? You've got to rein it in. Or is that just because you don't want to edit my shit anymore?
I mean, I prefer not to have to edit, especially now that we're starting to do video. You know, it makes it that wee bit harder.
Never rein it in, Kyle. Don't listen to
So
him.
if we could have like a list of lines that we don't use in the reviews, that would be great. You know, like
Eat
like,
shit and die, motherfucker.
yes,
I mean, if we
stuff
could
like that,
avoid
and,
using
yeah.
that'd be good.
fuck this band's another one. You know, if you could maybe just
No.
I've
just
only
rule
said
that
that
out.
about one band, and that was in 2013 for Rock and
Kyle,
Roll.
hold on a minute.
I
You said
think
it last week on
Yeah,
the Burn and
did
Hell
actually.
review. 'cause I
I've
had to
only
cut it
said
out.
that about two bands.
I think fuck this band is a fine thing to say. I'm not against that.
Is it?
Yeah. I stand back. I stand back and stand by my comments regarding a certain Dino Kazars and his fucking
Oh, God.
his fucking fake news. Fucking I'll take your money to re-record the drums, which are still a computer, Kyle. You gave them plenty of room there. Fuck that guy. Fuck his band.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Starry,
with
I
that, though.
agree. Yeah, nothing changed for me. It was like there's a worldwide pandemic. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna do the same I always do and just sit in this chair.
I was like, I've been podcasting for the last 7 years. I've been training for this for the last 7 years. Some people have been doing the old zombie apocalypse thing, buying shit and burying it out in the back garden, you know, like for survival. I've been sitting in a dank room recording.
Yeah,
Still
Like-
am.
I'm out of
So-
things to record now. I'm like, that's about a new piano.
There's always something to record.
There's always stuff to talk about.
Always.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we get into the actual the Twitch stream, you know,
Yeah,
the
serious note. Let's do serious.
a wee serious note, and I don't want to lower the mood of the stream too much here, but obviously, news broke last night that Joey Jordison of Slipknot had passed away. I think it was Monday. 46 years old.
46.
I thought it was only right that we kind of mention it or start off on the stream by kind of paying our respects to the man himself, because I think like Slipknot as a band, I'm sure kind of played a part in most of our lives, or definitely our three lives anyway at some point, you know, whether it was getting into the genre or as musicians. So I mean, I remember very clearly listening to that first album when it came out on Roadrunner, and just like playing the ever loving shit out of it for days on end. And like as a drummer myself, I was most definitely like inspired by his playing on that album. It definitely like 100% motivated me to kind of get better as a drummer. Just like his style, like I loved his style. Just like obviously listened to the albums again today. And his style on that first album was like partly like quite erratic, but you know, and quite off the cuff, but also hugely memorable. Every groove and every fill from that first album is just perfectly placed. And one of the things I loved about his playing was just how natural everything felt. He like very rarely recorded to like a click track or a metronome. And I noticed it today when I was listening. You can hear moments on those like the first couple of albums where the tracks do like speed up or slightly slow down. But that kind of like unrestricted kind of fluidity was kind of what I loved about his style. So yeah, really sad. I was like really shocked last night. Kyle messaged Duncan and I last night about it, and I couldn't quite believe it actually. Like
No, yeah.
46 is just far too young.
6 years older than me and you, Dave.
I know.
But to put things in perspective, 6 years older than me and you, one of the founding members of arguably one of the most important bands of the last 25 years.
Yep.
And it's easy to say, and there's a bit of complacency in there, but like there is a noticeable change in their sound when he left,
Oh, yeah.
and a
huge,
noticeable
yeah.
change in my interest in them when
Yeah.
he left. Or
Yeah.
I say when he left. I mean, that's obviously doing the rims at the moment. As
Did he leave or was he fired?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of that there. The bottom line is he had a condition which meant he couldn't play like he played before, and essentially would not have been able to. Could that have been handled better? Probably. I remember that without Slipknot, I don't know if me and you would have been as close friends as we were. You brought that album in to make me listen to it. This is what I want you to sound like when we did our college recordings.
Yeah.
Yes, Dave, I can do vocals. I sang in high school. What kind of stuff did you do in high school? Fiddler on the Roof, If I Were a Rich Man. And you're like, no, that's not going to roll. What else can you do? And I was like, well, I play keyboards. Nah, I don't want keyboards. I was like, so what do you want? And Dave slid, like a movie, slid the CD over. It's like, oh, let me listen to these aggressive-looking bastards. And yeah, like that, I very much like yourself played the album of Death. They were my first gig. I saw them at the Barrowlands, first time we played Scotland, and it was fucking incredible. Didn't go and see them anytime after that because I kind of felt like this is as good as that's going to get. One of my favorite venues ever. They were crammed on that, like they were practically crawling over the top of each other to fit everyone on that stage. And it was absolute chaos and absolute anarchy, and still one of my favorite gigs that I've ever been to. I think a lot of what you mentioned there, like he got to record with like arguably two of the best producers you know, of that time period, Ross Robinson twice and Rick Rubin. I mean, and there's a reason that I think his drums sound so organic, and it's that reason. Like those are guys that work off feel as opposed to precision. And yeah, I mean it's, and he did other things. That's I think we always overlook. I love the Murder Dolls.
Yeah, me too. You can't overlook that. They did
really
they brought all the horror core stuff to the
that's
the
a
mainstream
band.
almost. You know.
It's marketed directly at me. I mean, it's like couldn't market it then. This is for Duncan. Thank you very much. And yeah, like even going back through all the videos that have been posted, like him playing with Metallica, which I imagine blew his fucking mind, and also blew their mind. And were like, "This is what a drummer sounds like." Shots fired to Lars Ulrich. No, you can take the oxygen tank away. I don't need it. But yeah, I genuinely, I think that's the bit. Like we keep talking about. We go back and we listen to Slipknot's albums now, and there's a bit that isn't. It's a bit that just doesn't sit right, and that's nothing to take away from the drummer they've got. But there are certain bands that the drummer becomes synonymous with that sound that you initially get in with them, and it's the same with. I mean, I love all the Korn stuff post David Silvera, but it's hard to argue that his sound didn't define the sound that you. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But even when you think of Lamb of God's a recent example, that new Lamb of God album is a really, really good album. But he is trying to be a facsimile of Chris Adler, and he's not Chris Adler. And I would much rather actually what they've done is just not do that at all and just done something kind of different, because it sounds like a very safe version of that band. So yeah, incredible legacy. I mean, the outpouring of love online, I think, is testament to how I think it was Jack Osborne post something. I don't necessarily even like Jack Osborne. But there's a picture of him with Joey Jordison, and I think Jack Osborne's maybe 14 or something. And it's backstage at an Ozfest, and he was just like that. First time I met him, he was always super cool to me. And it wasn't because my dad was Aussie. He sat and chatted to me for ages and all the rest. And that's
all I'm seeing from anyone that is paying respects is that he was just super cool to anyone.
Yeah.
My favourite thing about Joey Jordison is he was a better drummer hung upside down than most drummers sat upright.
I know.
That fucking stage show, I don't know how he came up with that idea, but he was just like, I want to be upside down. Like, right.
He wanted to out Tommy.
Yeah, well, yeah. I saw
He
that
did it, he
live.
completely did it.
I saw that thing live on the 2002 tour in, I think it was in London. Oh yeah, because I'm on the Disaster Pieces DVD. There you go. I'm on that one. As I scroll down the crowd, there's my stupid 15-year-old face going, it's great. But I saw that. I couldn't believe it when I saw the whole fucking drum riser just come up like this and start spinning around. I was like, what? And he still sat there playing, strapped into a chair. Like,
it's a
blew
second
me
album
away.
tour.
Yeah.
Just to stress, that's a second album tour. That's how fucking big Slipknot was.
Yeah.
Name another band on their second album tour goes out with a stage show like that isn't named Ramstein.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking nuts.
Yeah. It's just crazy. I read it last night and I just saw it and I literally said out loud, "Oh my fucking god!" And I got asked, like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I was like, "Oh, the drummer from Slipknot died," and then everybody lost interest. But I was like, really hit me because Slipknot meant a hell of a lot to me back then. You know, they had a voice that I couldn't. You know, they had things they could say that I couldn't at the time, so I really identified with them, and the drums are a huge part of that, because the beginning moments of Slipknot Sick, the first song after the intro is, you know, it's all drums, and it's, you know, so, and he made the logo, and he was the art director for a long time before Sean fucking idiot took over, so. I'm just, whoa, it was a huge shock when I read it, and it still is, just can't believe it, 46. It must have been something to do with what was wrong with him. I mean, they say he passed peacefully in his sleep, but we haven't got any information. I'm not going to speculate.
We'll find. It will eventually. I think even regardless if it is something, you know, medically related or if it's something, you know, pharmaceutically related or whatever, the bottom line is the guy had an incredible life. He's like the list of musicians and drummers in particular that are just, you know, this was an inspiration. He was an inspiration. Just the whole thing. Is crazy, and to die young, I mean, is a horrific thing. But the accomplishments that he got, the way he changed the landscape, is something that's going to reverberate. You can always go back to that first album and hear an album that was technically classed as a new metal album. It's not a new metal album, but like classed as a new metal album that for the first time people were like, "Oh right, this is angry and vulgar and heavy and just like so aggressive, just like so like mercilessly aggressive." That album at a time where everything was going the other way, had to be polished, had to sound super, like it had to be able to play that on like an MTV or whatever. And I mean, they ran afoul of that in that every single they released had to have a radio version, which was just code for Corey has to use the singy track that he recorded all the way through it, and we have to turn that shitty stuff down. But yeah, I mean, it's just a completely different world, so he will be sorely missed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, if you get a chance this week,
as much as Paul Gray, it's crazy.
I mean,
two founding key members just gone from it for different reasons.
And listen to them now.
Yeah,
I mean, like you wouldn't think necessarily a band like Slipknot would sound so dramatically different minus a bass player and a drummer, and they were founding. I mean, Paul wrote all the stuff, and Joey had a massive input for all the other stuff. So lose those two, and that's it. Yeah.
I'd like to say hi to Pixie and Discordia. Welcome on in.
Hello.
And hearts. Yeah, I thought that was a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck off, Lisa.
What? You're just fuck me. And the dude from Metal Church died as well. 56 years old.
Can we just like wrap people in like bubble wrap or something for like the next year?
Fuck's sake. Okay. So
it could be one of those weeks.
Now we have to pick this up and sound happy again.
Duncan, take your shirt off. There we go. Now we're talking.
One button at a time if you're good, guys. I'm just going to leave it like there just now.
Oh.
Keep going the way you're going, and before we know it, you'll see Neville.
Who's Neville?
Neville is the Quato-like character that I have grown on my stomach. Open your mind! Open your mind!
Yep.
So, for this evening's Twitch stream, our topic for discussion is gateway albums, which we agreed on the last stream. We all have an assigned genre.
Yes.
And we had to come up with our top 5 gateway albums for someone that's kind of new to that particular genre. The genres chosen were new metal for Duncan.
Hi.
Obviously.
Do you know where you are? Hoo-ha. John Otto, take us to that Matthews Bridge.
God.
I'm the voice of the Gigi generation.
Oh. But you're not allowed to enter the Ukraine, so no one gives a shit.
Yes, this is also true. And I'm, for some reason, bringing the band back together for a world tour this year that no one asked for.
No, like, I think even Wes Borland was like, "Yeah, nobody wants it. I'm not
this
really
is why
into
he's-
it." Yeah,
I've got a theory about this. This is why Wes Borland is increasingly wearing more elaborate face paint that
Yeah.
eventually he can just get a stunt double to stand on stage and no one will fucking know.
yeah. Just play the backing track, it'll be fine.
Conspiracies.
Kyle has industrial.
Yep, a lot of bashing things with hammers and trying to call it music. Pretty much.
And I was assigned groove metal for obvious
I imagine
reasons.
it was really difficult for you, Dave. You can tell in his eyes how pained he
Well-
was to get groove metal.
I thought it was like when you said groove metal, I was like, yeah, that's easy. But I think that the main issue that I had with groove metal is it has so much crossover.
Yep.
Like, you know, whether it's death metal or thrash or progressive metal, even new metal, like groove metal tends to bleed into.
If Nickelback makes it into this list, I'm cutting the stream off and quitting the band, you know?
Yeah. I'm already getting the feeling that Dave's going to jump genres here. Groove metal is what we asked for, Dave. Like,
Yeah.
I've told you before, if like a Nothing Face or Skin Lab fucking mention it, I'm going to slap you. They're not,
Skin Lab.
they're not exactly fully on groove metal, are they? Is Skin,
Skin
Lab on
Lab?
your list? Skin Lab
They're
your
not on my
list?
list, but they're a groove metal band. What? What else would they be?
Hey, groove is in the heart now.
Shut up. So I tried to pick 5 groove metal
Look
albums.
how angry he is. That's so easy. We're just going
Don't
to do
talk
like
shit
every-
about Skin Lab.
see
Don't you
every
talk
band-
about shit about my genre.
Listen,
You know nothing.
listen,
You
Kyle.
know nothing. Duncan.
Kyle and listeners in the chat, every time Dave mentions a band, just say it's not a groove metal band. Look how angry he's getting.
You stay in your fucking lane with me.
Look at this photograph. Every time. It's a phone. It's not a photograph. I don't have a photograph here.
I tried my best to get down to 5 groove metal albums. There's a tiny wee bit of crossover, but it's minimal. I've also I've not stuck to the usual system of ranking my albums from 5 to 1. I've done it slightly differently this time. I went for most user friendly to least user friendly.
Ah, that's interesting.
Ah.
So what I
not
was thinking
sure
was, if
how
you're
I'd do
trying to break yourself into groove metal, then start with number 5 on the list.
Also like the fact that Dave was listening to bands that were just on the cusp of groove metal, and he's like, this is weak sauce. What I'll do is I'll change things so I can put albums that Dave likes later on and lead them into them, so I get at least one album in there. That's awesome. What are you, Dave? I
Absolutely
went a
busted.
slightly different tact. What I went for, and I explained it to you guys out there, because Dave hit out with the on the recording last Wednesday. Dave's like that. Fuck you! You'll just you just pick the best 5 new metal albums ever released. And my first comment to Dave was, Dave, there's more than 5. Right, there's more than 5. And then my second comment to Dave was, actually, that's not the road I went down. Cause new metal is an amalgam. I love that word. Melting pot of lots of different things. What I would try and do is pick a different musical style that new metal incorporated in, and bring the people in that way. So if you come from a kind of hip hop rap background, this is a new metal album that could get you into the new metal. Let's say you like a little bit of the I'm giving away all my answers, so I'm going to roll it back now. But those sort of things, plug them in.
I see where
That's
you
the
go
road
with
I
that.
went down. That's the
See
road
where
I
you
went down.
Well,
okay.
industrial's really hard to listen to at any given page. So I mean, like, I just went for the ones that are the easiest to get into from, like, pretty much, if you like
5
metal
9
first.
Inch Nails albums.
Yeah, all
That
9
was
Inch
it.
Nails. It's like, if you like airy fairy fucking synths and bits of
fucking
orchestra and stuff, then you can listen to Ghosts, and that'll get you into the others. No, I'm just kidding. There's-
Dave, if you ever pull that face again when he mentions Trent Reznor, Academy Award winning, two times Trent Reznor.
Do we need a
Have
Trent
words.
Reznor clacks in the night?
I think we might. Sorry.
Fuck's sake.
It's what I call my penis.
Fuck my penis.
You can't say that.
I mean, that's how Dave initiates sex.
Just looks
He's
over
not
and-
much of a mover, guys. He's not much of a mover. Once you do the work,
There's
my
no
penis.
smooth talking.
yeah, all the heavy lifting.
No foreplay.
Oh, I'm gonna need a stronger drink.
This is went off the rails really early.
Cheers,
What is
everybody.
in that iron brew? You take it off the 1901.
Actual
That's your
iron.
brain.
Pure fucking iron.
So yeah, for anyone that didn't know, we're dubbing this particular stream, "You're a Twitch, but I love you anyway." It's a true story.
Ooh, okay. I've
You're
that in
right
my
there.
system.
You see
I've got-
like sugar
I'm-
stars or
yeah, I've
something
got
in
it in
front
my
of you. Is that the Foo Fat stuff?
That is aye. It is.
Aye, what are you doing to
sure.
yourself?
It's basically like a line of coke. It's basically what it is.
Well, we need to confirm that with Lisa first. Lisa
Yeah.
is doing iron brew like I'm taking a line of coke.
You need a drink. Starry needs a drink, and it's only 2 p.m. for 2 p.m. for them. So
I mean that's in Scotland. You'd already be halfway there. You know what I mean?
2 p.m. is halfway to 5 p.m., and that means I can drink now.
Yeah, you'd be across the line if you know what I mean. So, yeah.
Pour it into your
So, I mean,
eyes.
I think only if you put it in your eyes. My eyes, the goggles do nothing. Right, so, I mean, we have to, it's tradition now.
Oh yeah.
Lumbering up there.
Yeah. Have to, it's carpal tunnel, Dave. It's from all that keyboard warrior shit that I do at the weekend.
Yeah, sure it is.
All those tweets that I send you under Assumed Aliases being outraged about reviews that have just been
It's the
posted.
wrist. It's that wrist that you need to listen off.
I know it's it's always listed.
Oh, nice.
Right.
Okay.
Right, you give us a count. You're the
All right.
drummer.
Don't ask the bassist to give you a count, and you'll never get that.
Yeah. He's waiting on
Oh.
your signal before he does it.
1, 2,
What we're doing this in?
No, it's more like 1, 2. That's a shiny
We'll
pen.
do 3, 4, or we'll do 7, 8 time, or
do it in 13, 16, just to
Yeah.
throw off.
do a polyrhythm.
I have no idea what's happening. But
See, the vocalist has no idea.
Same old.
vocalist doesn't need to know. Job is to look sexy. Throw on a Hawaiian shirt.
I saw an amazing meme today of
Uh-oh.
it was a meme of from Narcos. It was the Pablo Escobar thing about when the vocalist turns up to a gig and all the band are setting up their stuff, and it's just Pablo Escobar sitting on it, standing on his own in the
Yeah.
middle of his like swimming pool.
Yeah.
Like 3 different pictures of him just standing on his own with his arms folded.
It's 100%. Well,
It
I
is.
need that. I need that because all I remember about being in a band with you, Dave, was fucking carrying all your shit. Like literally carrying half your fucking drum kit. to
I
the
think
stage
I've
and
just
then
fucking
making sure-
figured out why no bands are using real drummers anymore.
I had to carry all
That's
that
it.
shit.
They're like, oh, we
And
used a
Dave-
computer. We just have to bring a laptop and not all of your fucking bullshit.
Dave was a full kit guy. It wasn't like I'll bring my snare drum. No, Dave was a full kit guy. Came with its own fucking scaffolding. We need a fucking planning building permit thing.
It's just
to
like
set
Tadia,
fucking
the Eye of the
bastard up.
Betrayer drummer. He's got a scaffold bar and he's got like 5, 6, 7
Dave
toms
had
and
a scaffold
18
bar.
foot. Yeah. And it's like
Like Dave
a
actually
curved
had a
one.
sca-
A
I had to
curved
fucking
one.
carry it. Let's into the room. So yeah, like and this is so. Don't hit me with a sitting there all on your own while people are setting up. I had to fucking carry everything.
Well, that
And
makes you
then
one
Mark,
of the good
Mark
ones.
was a lazy bastard, so I had to carry his fucking amps and his 7 guitars. And Pat, you couldn't get Pat to bring anything. People, you know, like interest,
Sense of humour.
attention, good patter. I mean, none of that came with him. So
The list goes on.
yeah,
The endless
Um,
list of terrible bandmates.
yeah.
Yep.
Interestingly enough, all not singers.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway, shall we begin?
Nice
Yes.
segue.
Yes. Let's do this rock paper scissors shenanigans to see who's going first. Okay,
right.
we're going on 1, yeah.
Yes.
Here we go, gents. 3, 2, 1.
Can't see you, Dave. Right, you've got paper.
paper.
So Dave's going first.
Dave's first.
Not me for once. Yes.
Okay. All good. So, starting off with number
Look at
5.
this photograph.
You fucking ruined my number 5, Duncan.
At least he wasn't outside the door and ruined your number 2.
Number 5 on
It's a
my
different photograph. Don't want to see
slide
that one at
under the
all.
door.
No one wants to see that photograph. But there's someone trying it. It's like 2 girls, 1 cup. You know what I mean? It's like.
Pixie's like, next time, just let me pick whoever goes first. Spoiler alert, I'll pick whoever looks the most scared.
Okay. Let's do
Dave's
that.
list will be amazing. Dave's list always are fucking amazing.
Oh, you say
It's
that and then you
perfect Dave.
fucking rip it to
Little
shreds
perfect
as soon as I
Dave.
start.
Well, you said that you really like Nickelback. That's why.
Oh,
That's
aye,
why
fuck
that
aye.
comes up. You make a statement like that,
Fuck
people
aye.
will remember.
Okay. Prime.
Just cough it out.
Oh, they are getting raw in the chat about you, Dave.
Oh, fucking hell.
I just had to delete a comment that said, "You slow bastard."
Fuck this, Dave.
Oh, they're on the same page with you about the old foreplay.
Right. Just get in there, Dave.
Yeah,
Just get in there. Fuck my penis. Right, let's go. Number 5 on the list. Groove
That's
Metal.
not if that's not an award at the end of the year podcast show. The "Fuck My Penis" award goes to
Dave.
Yeah, we're doing something wrong.
I better fucking win after all that.
Yeah, we'll give it to Dave Mustaine.
Motherfucker. Okay. Number 5. Number 5. Coming at ya. From Dave. Groove Metal Gateway albums.
Dave
Um,
Mustaine.
So, I am starting off with...
Sorry.
I'm getting the one out of the way that's probably got the most crossover. And it's not a crazy amount of crossover. We're just talking a wee bit of crossover.
It's a bit to encroach in my genre, and I'm not.
Right, hell, yeah.
I can read it in his eyes. I can read it in his eyes.
A wee bit of crossover. So I think like because of this little bit of crossover, it's, it's probably the best place to start. These guys, like riffs and drum wise, definitely bring the grooves, but vocally is where there's probably a little touch of crossover. Formed in 1989, gentlemen.
Jesus.
That's right.
What
in-
year?
I know. In Atlanta, I don't know if it was Atlanta, Georgia. The band are Stuck Mojo,
Good call.
All right.
and the album is Rising.
Ah,
Produced
and
by
I'm rising.
produced by the legendary Andy Sneap. These guys, like, they always had a groove. Like, if you go back to even right back to the beginning, back to Snapping Necks from like '95, groove metal was always a kind of element or a core element of their sound. But obviously, there was an influence from kind of hip hop and rap that came through in their music, more from a kind of vocal standpoint, because the riffs were always quite pretty chunky in the groove department. But then with the addition of Bones on vocals, that kind of gave it that kind of crossover into kind of rap metal. But then as time went on, their guitarist Rich Ward, aka the Duke, he started to do more vocals, going through into like Pigwalk and then obviously into Rising. Both a bit of kind of heavy vocals and then some melody as well. So by the time you got to Rising in '98, the rap element was obviously still there, but their sound had definitely become more kind of rounded by then. This album for me, I listened to it again like a good few times this week. It's such a feel-good album. Like, not only does it have riffs for days, but it has so many good hooks on it. The choruses from Rich Ward, the big melodic vocals. He has such a kind of soulful voice. So those kind of melodic parts on tracks like Rising and Southern Pride are just like so memorable.
I got my southern pride.
Great
Yes,
guitarist, great songwriter. If you've never checked out his solo stuff, really impressive as well. But in terms of like a kind of starting point for groove metal, I feel that it's like a nice kind of entry level album into groove metal to check out. I also, just for a bit of a laugh, I also did another little experiment this week for my albums.
Right. Get the kid listening to it.
I did, yes. I subjected my 10-year-old daughter, to my 5 albums that I picked, just to get someone's opinion that doesn't really listen to this style of music at all. She likes rock and little bits of metal, but nothing really crazy heavy. So I let her hear each of these albums. So I took a few comments from each of the albums. So our comments on Stuck Mojo Rising were catchy. She liked the drummer. She liked the organ sound on Southern Pride, and also that he was singing about Southern fries, and not Southern Pride. So she really liked it for that reason, and it seemed to kind of adopt a kind of Texan accent after the album had finished, just in general conversation.
I like my Southern fries.
Yeah, that's what she was saying.
It works, totally works.
So from my 10-year-old's perspective, it was a good album. But yeah, that's my number 5, Stuck Mojo and Rising.
Nice. That's a good.
So who's going next?
Kyle, let's do this.
Oh, okay.
Let's do this. Right. Dave counters.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Oh,
I'm going next.
Duncan's next. Right. Look at Kyle fucking mastering the rock paper scissors this week.
He's brought his A game with him this week.
I wrote the letter A on a piece of paper and I'm looking right at it. Zuki, what's up?
Let's go with the obvious one.
Okay.
Like the obvious one. I am someone that doesn't really listen to metal out with when it's occasionally on in the radio in the back. So I like my music super polished. I like it catchy. I like the lyrics to be memorable. I like the choruses to be super hooky. What am I going with? Well, I'm going with a little album called Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park. I mean, it's the obvious. It's the most polished, well-produced new metal album there has ever been. And I think that as a band for cross appeal, it kind of does a bit of everything.
Really
you get that rap element in there for sure. You get the kind of DJ stuff, and that at times they kind of bring in some. It's more kind of electronic elements in there. You've got the bouncy new metal riffs, which you need for a bit of headbanging. But you also have those dual vocals. So you have the specifically the kind of Chester Bennington kind of dual approach of vocals, which can be very clean, but also have that harsh melody. It's still melody, so it's not just like screaming. There's still tones to there, so you can follow it. And then at the same time, you have Mike, what's his name?
Shinoda.
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 My Shinoda.
My Shinoda, never gonna stop, never stop, never give it up. Gonna give me lyrics, my Shinoda. Anyway, so he's you get all that stuff as well. So you get he's actually a surprisingly good lyricist. Like going back to listen to that album today, there's a lot of kind of playful hooks, and it's not just like he's not doing the rap thing where it's like every last word has to rhyme. Or we're fucked. They look surprisingly well, and he does some really cool things in his delivery that I really, really, really like. And I think I've said it before, it's the most accessible album. It's probably still their best album.
100%.
But there's a reason that one went on to sell a gazillion albums, and it's because of that. It's an album that I know for a fact everyone, even though they probably don't want to admit it, at one time or another owned. In the chat at the side, on the call here right now, and people out there that went to metal clubs and all the rest, went to gigs. We all owned it at some point. And I saw them live on that tour, supporting the Deftones, and they sounded exactly like they sounded like on the CD. They were immaculate live. So it's the perfect entry level gateway into new metal. I think from Linkin Park Hybrid Theory, there's many bands that you could recommend that were not as polished or heavier off the back of that.
What a debut as well. Like,
That's nuts.
fucking
yeah.
hell.
It's,
Imagine
not,
if that was his
it's so
debut.
good. It's so crazy good. I mean,
it's
it's another album that had what, like fucking 5 singles or something.
I know.
Like back when that actually mattered. You know what I mean?
Like, these songs are all good enough to be a single, so just pick your 5 favorites and we'll go with those.
Yeah. There you go. Everything you say to me. I'm wearing the headphones. I feel like I should be going. That's what that guy was doing. Just want to stress that was me playing guitar, not trying to suck my own dick.
And now
Of
we
which
know
I
Although
that
it's a
you're
similar
right.
motion, actually, when I'm thinking about it.
I've seen him do it.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Kyle, what you got for
Jesus
number 5?
Christ.
Follow that.
Hi,
Follow
Jake.
that.
Hi, Jamie. Please ignore Duncan.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi. Hi.
DJ Dave, bring it on. Oh. Anyway, there we go.
Where were we going there?
I have no
Black
idea.
Lace? Was that Black Lace? No. Oh, okay. No. No. Wonder going there.
Ignore
Wonder going
Dave, too. I'm the only one here.
I love Pixie. We're all trying to ignore Duncan, but he's loud. Dave, how loud on a In fact, ask Lisa. I used to go around to Lisa's house many moons ago, and she would regularly post on Facebook how loud I was with her husband.
Yes.
Duncan only has one volume,
That's on.
and that's incredibly audible.
Yes.
Kyle,
Right,
entry
yeah,
level
hi.
industrial album.
Industrial album. I'm not going to go with the obvious one right away because there is a sort of barrier to entry with it, which is, I think, but it'll come later. But this one I think is like, it's quite easy to listen to if you're already either like electronic music fan, or generally a metal fan, because there's like lots of elements of each. And this one came out in 2003. It's a nice green cover. I was in college at the time, and I was like, "Oh, gotta get the new album by Static X called Shadow Zone." You knew
That
they were
was
coming
quick.
up. Yeah, you knew they were coming up on the list. You knew it. But I mean, this one. I mean, you got Wisconsin Death Trip and Machine, and they're very, very good albums. But I think if they were the first things you're gonna hear as an industrial metal from Static X, you probably might not get it right away. Even though Machine is quite polished and quite, the songs are quite simple and everything. But this one, I think, is the easiest one to listen to of all of their things before they started getting weird with Cannibal and all that stuff. But I don't know. I feel like they lost something. Anyway, Shadow Zone. It's really like it's not a far throw from other genres of music like electronic pop, even like EDM and stuff like that. It's got a lot of that bleepy bloopy blinkly shit in there. It's got a great vocalist, and it's like the riffs, the metal riffs. They're not like just bits of guitar stuck in for flavor or anything. There's actual metal riffs gone in there, and they're very memorable. Everything's very catchy, and there's a lot of different like speeds of song on this album as well. Like some of them really fast and high paced. Like the first song, just straight in, no fucking preamble, just you're in the song. That's it. And then a couple of the singles that came off there, they're more fairly like mid-paced, mid-tempo. So there's a lot of things to choose from on this album that I think would help anyone, most people, if they're into that type of thing already, come into industrial metal. And you could recommend a whole bunch of stuff on the back of this as well, like Spine Shank, and even like stuff like American Head Charge. You could recommend off this, and
swinging stones, just threw them onto Duncan's lawn there. Look at
Well,
him.
I mean, Static X were also one of those bands that kind of bridged between the new metal gaps. I just love the fact that both of you have taken the assignment and just taken bands from my genre. So
yeah, they could be classed as new metal as well, but I think honestly they're more industrial because they have way more sounds in their music that are. You couldn't have Static X without those things. Like, new metal, you can take some of those out with those songs and still have a good song. But with Static X...
Also, you don't... The thing about that is I never really liked the whole kind of new metal thing with Static X, because no one says that, like Astro Creep 2000 is a new metal album. No. And it uses a lot of the same elements. The guitar work is what differentiates it from... Yeah.
It's more riff-based. It's more songwriting stuff, Yeah, I think I agree. But no, this one I think, because I was going to go with Machine, but I thought, it's kind of, if you're not already in the genre, I think that's too hard to like just, if I showed it to my wife, she'd be like, fucking shut up. And, and I actually did show this one to my daughter who's 9 years old, and she said, "For en grusomme lyd," which in Norwegian which in English means "shut the hell up, Papa." So she didn't like it. So my test was a fail. It means what a horrible sound is what she said. So, so great.
Any whimsical story about Southern fries in there? No.
No, she couldn't
No.
understand the lyrics. She was like, "What is that dude fucking screaming about?" And I was like, "I don't know. He's got a pig, a hammer."
We spoke about Static X before in one of our reviews, and I think that's like Shadow Zone is probably the best entry level Static X album for someone who's not a Static X fan.
I completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you were into harder stuff, then definitely Wisconsin Death Trip.
Yeah.
But Machine is a surprisingly difficult album to get into unless you are a fan. So nice, like it.
Excellent, Cow.
Thank you. 500 bits for Shadow from Raven. Thanks very much. That's
500
massive.
bits?
Yeah.
That's a what?
Bits of Twitch.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Raven. That's awesome of you. The alerts are muted for some reason. I don't know why. I've got them turned up over here.
Steve's like 500 bits, isn't that a megabit?
Yep, that's 512, and that's half a megabit.
That's a bad computer joke as well. So let's move on. Let's move on. My microphone's going out here. Everyone will go, yay.
Duncan, it appears you're going through a tunnel.
I'm always going through a tunnel.
Okay.
Dave.
Number 4.
Lots of pyro, thanks.
Oh.
For the subscription for 9 months. We've got a Twitch baby. What are we going to name it? My vote is on we should name it Duncan, because that'd be funny.
Thank you.
Duncan is the tunnel.
Yeah.
Tunnel
Don't follow me, you will get lost.
Another 500, call it Southern Fries. All right.
I got my Southern fries.
Just for that, lots of pyro. We are calling the Twitch baby Southern Fries. You may not get the joke, but we've got it. Yes, Pixie, I will adopt you.
Nice.
Dave, what's your
Number 4.
Yeah, we'll just keep filling dead air if you don't speak.
Stop
That's
talking.
how that goes.
Number 4. This band were bound to come up in a top 5 groove metal albums. One of the biggest bands to ever do it. Also just happens to be my favourite album by the band. The Masters of Groove Metal, Pan fucking Terra.
Sorry.
Oh, that album.
I know, I was
and
taking
they're-
the piss. Fucking hell.
Get
I
out.
like Dave, like, this is an easy
Yeah.
one to upset him. Just start naming every Pantera album that isn't fucking...
Their
Vulgar
best album
Display
was 1990s Cowboys from Hell. This one, it's kind of seen as like Pantera's first album, but more flames.
Yep. Thanks, Raven, for gifting that subscription to Dave.
To me?
Yeah,
To me?
you've just been gifted a 1-month subscription to my channel.
I better start watching.
You better
Yeah.
start using Twitch, Dave.
Yeah. Thanks, Raven.
But those who know actually know that they had a phase of glam and hair metal before Cowboys from Hell, where they put out 4 other albums.
I was going to say a
Didn't
phase.
we all?
A
Didn't
phase.
we all?
4 albums is not a phase. That is an identity.
Yeah, I think we've all went through that 4-album glam metal phase. Every single one of us.
Yeah, mine's
and
coming up on
trust
the
me,
next release.
Yeah, there's a one day that you wake up and you look in the mirror and your mascara's all smudged and your lycra's riding a bit too high, if you know what I mean, and you say to yourself, "I'm going to be a groove metal band."
This was their first in terms of the groove metal sound, and one of the real kind of first groove metal albums of its time. Also produced by Terry Date, who went on to work with the band on Vulgar and Far Beyond Driven and Trendkill. And for me, this is not only is this the perfect Pantera album, it actually still has moments of that past, though. You know, if you listen to it, especially vocally, Phil does go a bit hair metal on tracks like Medicine Man. Medicine Man! With those high notes. But it also has like some of the most iconic riffs ever written by Dimebag. Obviously the title track, but you've got things like Primal Concrete Sledge and Heresy and Domination, and then like Cemetery Gates, which
the guitar solo on Cemetery Gates is maybe one. It's top 5 guitar solos for me ever in terms of it. Just like it's fucking haunting and it's amazing.
Goosebumps, absolute goosebumps. I think this is another kind of good starting point for people that are kind of new to groove metal. I think it's got a good balance. It still has some kind of lighter moments, and vocally it's quite catchy in places. They definitely upped the heaviness like as their albums went on. So like I'd recommend starting here if you're like new to Pantera and want to kind of ease yourself into them. But as for groove metal, I think this is a good album to ease you into that genre. I let my daughter hear this one as well, obviously. She laughed a lot while listening to this one.
Is it the guys? Is it because Phil goes high?
I think it's the vocals, yeah. She really liked the first track, Cowboys from Hell, because the guitar riff kind of pans from kind of like ear to ear, so she liked that in the headphones. And then she also liked the fact that he shouted "Oh Truffles" at the start. I was like, no, he didn't shout "Oh Truffles." I think it was "Oh Come On." He shouts.
"Oh Come On."
Yeah, apparently it was "Oh Truffles." So, and she likes truffles, so she liked that song. Great. So that's my number 4.
I'm never going to be able to hear that song the same way again.
It's like
great.
It's like when there's a I'm trying to remember what's the 1, 2, 3, 4. What's that song that's gonna fucking annoy me now?
What song? What
fucking Hostile, right there.
All right.
I had to go through the whole song till I got to the chorus. There's a misheard lyrics video for fucking Hostile where the lyric the lyric they substituted as being wrong is "a broken Pikachu," and I've never been able to listen to that the same way again. To me, it's always now "a broken Pikachu." It's the attitude. Fucking amazing. Because I just imagine Pikachu like just snapped in half. And why would anyone want to do that to Pikachu? That's a good question.
That's great.
Well, that's like they've got the whole video. It's on YouTube. You just like type in like fucking Hostile misheard lyrics or something along those lines, and you can find it, guys. Right, let me keep things rolling.
I'm going to stop you there.
Oh!
I'll go get another drink. Carry on.
Okay, well, I will pad things out because I don't want Kel to miss my pick. Because I don't want to miss a thing.
Oh God.
Even when I think of you,
he's going to do the whole song.
Lay awake just to hear you breathing.
You might want to take a pee break at this moment in time.
Me?
No, you. The people watching.
Like they will hear me singing in my house. So like, why is Duncan singing Aerosmith when he takes a piss again? Every Wednesday, guys. Every Wednesday. Oh, man.
What have I come back to? I don't know.
Oh, God, yeah.
Right. I kind of gave a little hint there. With the old rolling. I mean, Limp Bizkit. We're going to have to do it. As shameful as we are, we are going to have to do it.
Run while you can. What have you said?
Might not be the album that you'd expect me to go with, because a lot of people will expect me to go with Chocolate Starfish and the hot dog flavoured water.
Shite.
Which, I mean, once again, I think might be their most successful album. I think.
It's honking,
maybe.
though.
It has some issues.
It's a Korn album, right?
Yes. Yeah, it morphs into a Korn album in the middle. It's definitely had the people were doing that and thinking it was cute, and it wasn't. And they will keep their pants hanging and a spray can for the tagging. A lot of girls in their bandwagon because they don't give a fuck. Living life in the fast lane.
I hate that I know those lyrics.
But that's not the album we'd go with. Now, on paper,
cool.
the album that I would really want to go with is $3 Bills, y'all, which has the production, has the rawness, has that face cover that gets the girls crazy.
Cray,
but no.
As they say.
It's not that one either. It's the album that came in between the two. This is Significant Other.
Yeah.
Significant Other to me is the one where they got the balance between commercial hip hop and new metal spot on. It helps that there's a lot of catchy new metal riffs in there. You know what break stuff, Dave?
Oh yeah.
Where all you have to do is go duh, duh, and that's all you need to do if you're a guitarist, and that sells millions.
Yeah.
But I think, like, to me, that album in particular is where I think you get the most of Limp Bizkit's personality. I think by the time you get to Chocolate Starfish, it's almost a parody of what they're doing. They almost become a parody of themselves. But the transition between really raw Ross Robinson sounding $3 bills y'all into, right, we're now a band that can shift units with Significant Other is there. I actually don't think there's a bad song on that album as well. I love, like, one of my favourite tracks is End Together now, mostly because as Method Man, and I like the woo, if you know what I mean. Woo. So I love a wee bit of the woo. You know, protect your neck, Dave, with a scarf. With a nice scarf or cravat. So, like, I really like it. But the other thing I'm going to mention is, it might be, and this is, I might lose some people here. Don't try it, man. Don't try me. I actually think, like, this is also Fred Durst's best album. He's the least obnoxious he is on anything he does.
You know, I always thought that. I got into Limp Bizkit off the back of Chocolate Starfish because it was popular and all that. And then I listened to Slipknot, I was like, why are they not more popular now? This one's way better. So I totally agree.
He's just, like, on the first album, it's too quirky. And they're trying to be a bit too corn, if you know what I mean? Where, like, tracks are finishing out and they're all like, boom, you're like that. No, that's Korn that does that. Stop it.
Fuck up, Fred.
And then and then you jump to, like, when you get to Significant, it kind of almost feels like he's kind of comfortable. And it also doesn't have two songs that start off with him shouting out words and then a drum hit.
Yeah.
Shut up! Boom! And then you jump ahead 2 tracks. And he's like, mellow out! Boom! You're like, that's the same start, dude. Don't do that. Yeah, I think it's like, and you have, like, a lot of great songs. Yes, I think the one I dislike the most on that album is Nookie.
Yeah, I completely agree.
It's my least favourite on the album. It's not a bad song, it's just I don't like it.
Thanks for the host, Ed. Sorry to drop you off.
Go for it.
Thanks for the host, Ed.
Cheers, Ed.
Yep. Cheers. So yeah, that's and also my favourite album that John Otto plays on in the band as well.
John Otto.
I like it. Also, like, that's an album that they're like, you know, Sam Rivers, bass player man, you know what you can do? Play some bass without anyone doing anything over it. And I love that. He's a fucking great bass player.
He is.
And that's the album. You can hear him play a lot of bass on without anyone else.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm putting it there right now. Limp Bizkit, Significant Other.
I would
Brings in
recommend that
those
album
commercial
over
hip
the
hop
others,
fans, and it's radio friendly AF.
Yeah, true that.
There we go.
Yeah, I completely agree.
That was my remit, folks. My remit is to bring the albums in the new metal genre that will convert someone to new metal that maybe hasn't heard it before. So,
Okay.
yeah,
It's a good choice. Yeah. Of all the Limp Bizkit albums, that's the one I'd probably go back to. Over
it's
all
the
of
only
them.
one I really go back to.
Yeah, like,
So,
not that I really have a desire anymore. Well, some of the riffs from Where's are really good, so there's all that. And the production's usually pretty good. But no, that one, yeah, I never really got into $3 Bill at all. I was like, this is a bit weird.
a couple of bad songs. There's a couple of filler songs in it,
Yeah.
but the good songs in it are their best songs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. All right, so it's back to me with industrial
Cool.
metal again. All those weird,
Yes.
fucking horrific noises that industrial people like to stick into their music. They're like, what can we sample next that doesn't sound anything like music? And they're like, let's put it in there. This is just somebody scraping a hammer against a frying pan, and we're going to put it in.
Yes.
So with the sound of a gerbil doing Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And
I probably have done that, yeah. I can't imagine anything that hasn't been done in industrial metal so far. I've heard some stories. Oh,
look at his eyes when he said that. He has actually had some stories.
oh yeah. Anyway, so I have another pick. From this is what, number 4? Are we going for? Mm-hmm.
Did you say you have another pig?
Another
Like
pig in the
giving away
back.
a little, is that a hey pig?
Hey.
Hey pig. Hey piggy.
Dave's like, I don't get the reference because I don't like the band.
Oh no, I get the reference.
Oh, good. I'm glad you get it. You're still giving us that side-eye shaking head. Would you shut the fuck?
Disapproving.
Right, so this one came out in 1997, and it's like the second or third album, I don't remember. And it's actually, when I read about like how they came up with their sound, they were like, they always liked the stuff from metal, but they thought it was a bit too cheesy. And I was like, all right. Well, they said something like that. I don't quite remember. It was a couple of weeks ago I read it, but like they mix the heavy riffs and like the synthetic and the industrial elements super great on this album, and have some really good catchy songs and two singers, and it's great. So it's How Rock by KMFDM.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Fuck. Nice.
Duncan's beside himself.
Nice, man. I've not listened to that in fucking ever.
It's great. I used to listen to it all the time, and I listened to it, and I haven't in a while, so I listened to it again preparing for this. I was like, this is so good. Holy crap. And it's like, it's not all the way like awful sounds and just weird shit industrial like some Ministry stuff or Throbbing Gristle or something like that. It's good, well written, catchy songs with memorable parts and heavy fucking riffs that mean something as well. So it's like, plus KMFDM is stupidly well known in the industrial and other metal genres. You say that, and most people who are into metal go, yeah, a good band. And so, but
I love the blank look on Dave's face right now as he's trying to recall a song.
Fatherland is all you need. Which is, funnily enough, not on this album.
Yeah, watch what website you type that into.
Yeah. It's like
on a list, Dave.
Fatherland is like a landmark in all metal. So just But no, this one, give this How Rock, H-A-U Rock. It's fantastic, and it doesn't sound like it's from '97 either. It is like light years ahead of its time. The production is actually great for 1997 in the middle of Germany, not really knowing what they're doing. And they're singing English, which is right up Dave Street as far as I've heard.
Oh, he's back. You see how he shot up there? Singing English. What's that, guys?
No, it's
English,
great.
you see?
From the first song, there's just these memorable parts that just speak out to you with the lady singer as well. I've forgotten her name, but they've got a female vocalist and the male vocalist. And it's just, it just keeps on going, just builds upon greatness from the first song all the way through its 14 tracks. So give it a listen. There might be one or two fillers, but ignore them. You can figure out which one's theirs and just, I would just skip. Fuck it.
Nice. Excellent, gentlemen. On to number 3 on the lists. Okay, so my number 3 pick is by a band that were active around from about 2002 to about 2008, roughly. Featured members of another pretty iconic band from that started in the 90s called Vision of Disorder. The band were called Blood Simple.
Oh,
Were you with me when we went to see?
No, I haven't seen them.
No, you never saw them live? Oh, they were so fucking good live. So good live. Someone, was it Red Harvest? Was that the name of the second album?
That is.
Yes, I saw them on the Red Harvest tour.
So Blood Simple was Tim and Mike from Vision of Disorder, along with the Hell Yeah bassist Kyle Sanders, who's also the brother of Troy Sanders.
I did an interview with him once for
did
my
you?
side project many years ago on the Bassist website. He's a lovely guy.
Nice. Also featured downset drummer Chris Hamilton. Put out 2 albums. My favourite out of the 2 was their 2007 release, Red Harvest, which was produced by a guy called Machine.
Who's not to be confused with the gimp wearing killer in the movie 8mm.
Yes.
So don't do that. That's a different guy.
Might still wear a mask though.
He may still dress like a gimp. How comfortable would you be if you were a band and you signed to like a professional record label and all the rest? And they're like, we want you to go and work with this guy called Machine, and you turned up and he was in a full gimp suit behind the desk.
I mean, it depends how good his production was.
Yeah.
So
I'd listen to what he's done before. I'm like, yeah, I don't care if he wears a fucking
I
gimp
may be open
mask.
to
I don't
that.
give a shit.
I mean, the good thing about it is if he was trying to tell you to change the song, you could always close the zip.
Yeah. I think you need to switch these 2 parts around in the song.
Yep, that's right.
The first album came out in 2005. The first album had definite hints of new metal about it. Probably to do with maybe the time period it came out, but
I also think it was like to do with the fact that that was the direction that last Vision of Disorder
Vision
album
stuff, yeah.
was going. It was kind of like a southern new metal album,
Yeah.
so kind of makes sense.
But by the time that Red Harvest came out, they'd kind of reined in some of that for the most part, and opted for something a bit more with a kind of a southern groove to it, I suppose. Although it is heavy and quite metallic in places, it does still have a hook to it. Tim Williams was obviously used to kind of screaming his lungs out for most of the early VOD
He's got
stuff.
such a good voice.
Whew. But as you said, he did start to experiment with melody on From Bliss to Devastation by Visions Disorder. So you do get a bit more of that coming through on a lot of the Red Harvest tracks, especially on stuff like Dead Man Walking and things. I think these guys are a bit of an underrated band, if I'm honest. Even though they were signed to Warner Brothers, they only lasted like 2 albums, and then unfortunately Vision Disorder reformed in 2008.
You say unfortunately, I say yes, because that album is the tits.
Yeah, unfortunately Blood Simple disbanded after that album, but yeah, Vision Disorder obviously got back together to record a new album, and then I think the other guys went off and did other things. Obviously Kyle went into Hell Yeah and things. But I still give this regular spins. I think it's well worthy of a listen if you've never heard it before. And again, I think it's a good way to kind of just ease yourself into groove metal. It doesn't throw you right in at the deep end, this album. There's still enough melody and kind of catchiness to keep you kind of engaged in it. Good album, some really good riffs on this as well. Let this one play for my daughter, as I mentioned before.
This could be fun.
She her highlight of the album was Dead Man Walking, although she said, I'm not sure what he's singing about. She picked up I love like how every album that she listened to, she had a different version of the lyrics than what was actually being sung.
That's the best thing.
So on this one it was the lyrics were don't look at me, I'm a janitor, I'll cut your mustache off, is what she thought I said.
Dude, like, we need to sit down with Fallon and get her to write the lyrics. That's
Okay.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
I do
Like,
too.
the thing is, like, see, when we were in the band many moons ago, and we write like that would be a regular occurrence of, are you saying melted cushion? And I'm like, no, I'm not saying the words melted cushion. 'Cause one, why would I say that? Yeah. But we used to do that quite a lot.
Yeah.
I always remember there's is it Crowbar? Former colleague of ours was convinced that the lyrics to in a song was it you can be like Bernstein and snap a plane.
What?
Snap a plane, like as in half.
An entire
Snap a
plane.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it became this story about this guy Bernstein who was so strong he could snap a plane. Not as good as Shave the Janitor's Moustache. That is
It's fucking fantastic. That
That's
is.
amazing.
Yeah, she said it wasn't as good as Stuck Mojo though.
Well,
Okay.
to each their
I
own.
mean, she's not wrong. I got my southern fries.
Yeah,
I'm never going to be able to
she's
listen to that again now.
I
That's
know.
that gone
I
as
know.
well now.
That's
Ruined.
it.
I'm hungry every time Rising comes
Gone.
on.
So, time to go to McDonald's and listen to Stock Mojo. And maybe a
so that's
better
number
restaurant.
3. Blood Simple, Red Harvest. Number 3.
It's a good one.
Good choice.
Kyle, what you got?
I'm
He
going to
does
pass
this a
that
lot.
over
He
to
just
Duncan.
gets me. This isn't a
Ignore
regular
him.
occurrence.
Just ignore him.
Just
Kyle,
pass
This is why. See, in a minute there, that's like, why is Duncan so loud? This is why, so I don't get forgotten by Dave.
it still happens.
Dave, you bastard! You missed me again.
Still happens. It's a good way. It's a good way to
fine, bro.
ghost me off the podcast. It's just never speak to me. Just keep going to Kyle. It's like, maybe he'll take the hint. Is he still on the video?
Everyone's in the chat wondering who the fuck this Duncan is we keep talking about.
The mystery guest.
Sorry about that, Sir Duncan. New Metal, number 3.
So this one is going in a different direction. This is the one I picked for people that like metal.
All right.
Right, so you like something. I'm not saying like when I say metal, I'm not like you're a Meshuggah fan. This is the band. Like, I'm not going down that road.
Okay.
But if you like various varieties of things that are a bit more
Oh,
metal from
yes.
the 90s,
Yes.
then this is the band that I think gets you into new metal, maybe not fully in, and mostly because they are kind of very difficult to pigeonhole them. I mean, their classes, once again, this is another, we class them as a new metal band, but there's plenty of elements in here that would put them towards the Kyle spectrum of what he's doing today, of industrial, because those elements are in there. But there's also elements that definitely put them into almost kind of Faith No More territory, like back in the day. So like pre-new metal, as in like, or what do they call that? It's not pre-new metal. What would you call it? You would call it proto new metal, and that has the building blocks, but working its way through. The band are American Head Charge. The
Yes.
album is The War of Art,
Of
and
course.
this is another one that has not a fucking bad song in it. Has that Rick Rubin production. It's actually an album that does not sound like Rick Rubin's produced it at all.
I know.
If you listen to other things that Rubin does, it's almost surprising that one, he's the guy that put them on that label, and two, he's the guy that produced it. There are a couple of key elements on how this crosses over. The guitar is like, of the new metal bands I can think of, it's the most metal sounding guitar. It has just this very, like, it's not like a 7-string. It's not detuned to fuck. Like they will really go with a degree of punch and oomph in what they play. Has all the quirkiness in new metal though, and that they use samples, loops, keys. You know, all that stuff's in there. They have tracks where Chad, the singer himself, will go down the road of doing kind of almost staccato style rap. Once again, in a heavier tone. But will very easily break out into those kind of Faith No More-esque new metal choruses. And they're all in there. Subject matter is very new metal. There's no getting around that.
Yeah.
And like lyrics in that album are like the most new metal that ever new metaled. And then and then you look at the way the band was marketed. It was marketed, whether they wanted to or not, in a new metal vein, kind of post Slipknot. So I mean, they all wore kind of military style fatigue things. They all, like, some of them were wearing goggles. The guitarist wore a guitar strap which was all empty shotgun shells, and marched on stage while he was playing. So like, it had all the quirk that you got from bands that we've already mentioned before, where you might not know the guitarist's name and Linkin Park, but you knew he was the guy that wore the headphones. You might not know the guitarist's name in fucking El Nino, but you knew he was the one that wore the backpack. You know, is that sort of level where you would associate the bands because of image necessarily, as opposed to names, which is one of the reasons people hate new metal, and that's fine. But you know, it's a valid criticism. Whereas, like, in the thrash era, you could see like who the guitarist was for this obscure band that played for 3 years in the Bay Area, never toured out with California. You know, like, people know that shit. In the new metal world, it's, well, did he have face paint? Didn't he have face paint? Is he the guy that wore the chain around his neck with the padlock? He is. That's my guy there. It's like a game of Guess Who. But like, The War of Art is, to me, it's a perfect album.
I fucking
because
love that album. Yeah.
Well, it's this. I was giving it more scrutiny this time, and I think the reason it works even better than the other ones is the song placement.
Yeah.
Well, it's an
I agree with
album that builds, and
Yeah.
as soon as it hits its heavier moments, it drops back out, and the next song will start with an elongated, weirder, kind of slower intro before kicking in. It has those big highlight, catchy, played on MTV all the time fucking songs that are in there. Just so you know, is a great one. I also had the controversy of having the song All Wrapped Up, which was banned from MTV because it's basically Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. Even had Michael Rooker in it, reprising the role as Henry. So it has all those elements. Production is fucking new metal AF. Perfect. We make everything out. And it's one of those, it's an album, once again, where you can headbang all the way through or jump. And that's what new metal albums are supposed to do. I think it's the one that I would, if I was trying to get someone back in the day into new metal, that's, you know, who didn't listen to new metal and thought they all sounded like Limp Bizkit or Cold Chamber or Korn or whatever. American Head Charge, particularly The War of Art, is the album I would give them, because I think there's enough in there where people are all right. They're kind of doing something a bit different. They're kind of doing something a bit hooky, and it's not too technically proficient like a Mudvayne.
Yeah.
Because LD50 almost made it onto here, and I was like, who do you give LD50 to that isn't like already completely understands the musicality? It's a very difficult sell, even though it's arguably one of my favourite new metal albums ever written. So American Head Charge, The War of Art. If you haven't listened to it ever, listen to it, you will enjoy. If you haven't listened to it in a while, respin that motherfucker. It's great.
I listen to it quite often, to be honest. It's one of my favourite albums ever released. I discovered them because they were supporting Slipknot on that same tour. I saw them with the Disaster Pieces, so they came on right before In Flames, and I was like, fucking get these guys back on. They're way better.
My lasting memory of them, and this is where it was lightning in a bottle and everything was perfect. And they obviously had that Slipknot link because I think Sean, the clown, he produced that out, not the album. He produced the music video. I think it's just so you know that's his. It's one of his first music videos. You'll know if you watch it because his face appears in it 5 times because God forbid anyone else gets any credit for anything they do out with the clown. But yeah, he's so they had that link in there, so they were getting a lot of press. A lot of people tempting them as the new Slipknot, even though they sound fuck all like Slipknot.
Not even a little bit. I mean, yeah.
But they were on the front cover of Kerrang on a fucking tank, and it's one of my favourite shoots that Kerrang ever did. It's a proper big old fucking military fucking World War II tank, and the band are all dressed in their weird fatigues and fucking bodysuit things, and all looking weird and goofy, and standing in different positions as if they're getting called into war. I hadn't even heard the band at that point. I was like, I'm gonna like these guys, and turns out I did.
Yeah, me too. Still do. It's a shame they're not around anymore.
Yes, but then again, they're another band who have lost a key integral member of their writing. When their bassist died.
Chad Hanks, he was a Spectre player. He's the one that actually sort of got me into Spectre. Well, not got into, but I noticed he was playing Spectre, and I was like, oh, I've got to check out that bass company, and it was great. But he used to switch between bass and like bass synth as well, which I thought was really interesting. Like on stage, he'd have this little like thing like this, and you just like he'd be playing bass on one song, and then he'd like sort of swing it around and go and play a synth. It was awesome.
Amazing.
Really cool.
They were all playing like about 10 different instruments,
know,
and they were just so volatile on stage.
I know.
Just so really, you never knew what was going to get flung over the stage and when it was going to happen. Which I kind of like a bit of anarchy. Like it backed up. They had the image, but they backed up with it. Which I kind of dug as well. Their drummer from their original album, From the War of Art, is a friend with me on Facebook. I don't know why he's a friend with me on Facebook, but and he added me a while ago. And he's a weird guy.
Yeah, I think I'm friends with the same guy. No, I don't know.
Like every now and again he just decides to post a video of him painting a wall or playing piano, singing. And
then he also posts some really controversial shit, and I'm like, it's just blog.
Yes, there's that as well. There is that as well.
Nah, no thanks.
He wanted to be provocative in the moment. And I was like, not on Facebook.
No.
It's the wrong platform.
It is. You want to do that? Go to Twitter.
So there we go. Right, we're going to Kyle.
Me.
Kyle.
Well, I was going to say the same album. No.
I did actually think that you could very easily start.
It was almost in my list, but I thought they are. I think they are more new metal than industrial. Even though they've got the industrial elements, I don't think you could say they're an industrial metal band because they just they've got too much other stuff going on. So, but no, this one came out in 2002, I think, and I think it's the band. If you can get past the language barrier, Dave.
I think it's about fucking time.
It's an obvious one. You say industrial metal, most people's minds go to Ramstein.
Well, what album did you pick, though?
Well, I think this is the most accessible album. This came out in the early 2000s. It's got a whole bunch of different styles of songs on it. I mean, it's got riff-heavy songs. It's got like electronics-heavy songs that they switch it about, and it's got like clean songs where they just sing and it's almost a ballad. So it's like you can get into half this stuff. Yes, they sing in German. Stop giving me that goddamn face, Dave. I swear to God, I'm going to punch my screen. But this is Mutter.
Yeah.
Yeah. came out with the green cover and everything. They had a whole bunch of singles off this. Sonna, for one, that was like the song that broke them out into the ultra mainstream. They were already pretty big with, you know, Du Hast and all that. But the album with Du Hast on it, what was it fucking called now? Light something. That's it, but yeah.
Yeah.
I can never remember it. It's the German thing.
all I'm gonna say right now is like I was wondering where Kyle was gonna go, and as soon as he said Ramstein, Du Hast my attention.
Oh, that's good.
This guy.
Yeah.
I like it. That's a good one.
Dude, Disney, my attention.
No.
Oh no, it has that. It has Links 234.
Yeah. A fucking
I
Feuer
don't
Frei,
like
which was in that
Ramstein.
Triple X movie, which was very of its time, and they had they had 4 or 5 singles off it. Even the slow song, I can't remember. It's called Mutter. Yeah, they had a video, and that was a single as well. They were brave enough to put out. They're a well-known industrial metal band, and they put out a clean song as a single, and it worked so well. And it actually showed off Till Lindeman's voice in a fantastic way. I mean, he's got a hell of a voice, and he knows how to write a goddamn lyric, for sure. He is, and if you understand it or if you translate it, you read those lyrics, like, holy shit, dude, you're actually really good. He's not just rambling on about crap. Well, he is nowadays with that song he just released called I Hate Children.
There's only one place you can go,
Yeah.
Kyle, when you've basically released a song saying, was it you have a vagina and I have a dick?
Yeah.
At that point, you can only really go to I Hate Children.
Yeah, pretty much. That's it.
So
After they released that, I was like, my time with Ramstein is done. But no, this is first time I heard it. I've heard it a couple like Du Hast and a couple of the other ones that are more famous, but I hadn't really gotten into Ramstein. But this album I listened to all the way through. I wore out the CD. I think if you want to get somebody into something like this, like especially industrial metal, and they're into it and they can get past the language barrier, then this definitely will help because it's got all those different elements on it. It's not just one trick all the way through. It's really got a lot of stuff to get into. So if you get into the clean one, you can probably then take that and move over to one of the heavier songs like Feuer Frei or Sonna as well. It's not a fast-paced song, and it's catchy as fuck. And it's like
it's got the opening riff to that.
Yeah.
It's challenging you not to headbang.
It's
same-
nuts. Yeah, it's so good.
Dave's even headbanging thinking about
Yeah,
it.
is
just
that?
knows
I
not.
love that.
Yeah.
A little headbang
That's
nod. When does a nod become a headbang, Dave? Right around here.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to. And if you haven't heard the album, and you're not a Ramstein fan or an industrial metal fan, I challenge you not to love it because it's yeah.
Don't challenge Dave.
Why not,
Everyone
Dave?
except Dave. We challenge
Nah.
you to love it.
There's only so many things you can challenge a drummer to.
Not Ramstein.
Oh, no,
He doesn't
Rammstein.
like the drummer. He doesn't like the drummer from Ramstein.
Yeah.
I don't know about Ramstein, really, to be honest.
How can you not like anything about Ramstein? It's just
Fuck
weird.
that band.
It's just like a weird thing to say.
How can you tell me off for saying fuck that band?
Right. While we're getting ready to move into the top 2 or the final 2 spots, I'm going to refresh my drink, which means you all get a break from Duncan.
Oh, yes.
What are we gonna do without you for 2 whole minutes?
I'll be right back.
It's gonna be like
Still hear him. I can still hear him.
that would have been good if you just shuffled off in your chair, just floated away. But Ramstein, what is it about Ramstein that puts you off so much?
One, obviously, the lyrics.
Oh,
I just don't connect with stuff that's in a foreign language. I've
Yeah.
no idea what they're singing about, even though they have giant penises and stuff on stage. I've no idea what they're singing about.
Now, sadly,
there's-
I've never been able to see them live.
Oh, you know,
No, I really want to, but I've never been able to. Like, they did a gig here a couple of years ago, but my eyes were fucked, so I couldn't go see them. I was like totally out of it, and before then, just never been had the chance. Yeah,
I'd have thought they'd been in Norway fucking all the time.
yeah, they've been here a few times.
Ramstein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And COVID's happened and stuff. So,
Yeah.
but man, yeah,
No, just could never get into them.
no,
Tried, but
fair enough.
No.
If you're not, you're not.
no.
No, but then again, I don't think
Can't
you're
do
into too much industrial metal either. So,
No, really. So more the kind of crossover stuff.
I can understand
If
that.
it's mixed with other things, but the kind of straight up industrial, I do struggle with a bit.
Yeah, I can understand why some of it's a bit like, oh my fucking god, you decided to do that. Why? So I'm bringing up these albums because these are they may not be the best industrial albums, but they are definitely the ones that are easiest to listen to. So Like, and you want to, like, when I said KMFDM and you're just sat there a blank, I'm like, you want to hear their sister band, MDMFK. Crazy that lot. Actually, I think their bassist, Tom Skold, was bassist for Marilyn Manson for a few years.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah, so he left them and now he's gone off on his own. He's just called Skold with a K because he's from Germany, so of course.
I've heard that.
Yeah. He's a great, good stuff. But that is like, that's definitely industrial shit. You need to like industrial to like. So it's, I couldn't bring it up here because I listened to it. I was like, it's a bit too much on the hard industrial side. So there's another band I could mention as well that I'm not, but I mean Fear Factory. But they're not getting a mention for obvious reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, they've obviously got a bit of a crossover going on, but yeah, you could still put them in that category. I think. There he is.
It has been 2 minutes of dead silence until you go back. It's been such a gift for our ears.
Why are people talking about Fear Factory in the chat? What's happening?
Never mind. It's all right.
47 months in a row have you been subscribed to this channel. That is nuts. Why? Thank you so much, but why? How you doing? It's awesome to see you back. Hey, is this your morning? Yeah? Yeah, it is. Oh. Why? I don't know. Yeah, me either. Like anyone that has been, I just don't get it.
Okay.
Right,
So,
Davey,
where are
where
we?
you going next?
Number two
No.
on the top 5 gateway albums for groove metal. Number 2. So my number 2, from a band that I might not be like an instant kind of go-to when someone mentions groove metal. They're not one of the bigger names, but they've been on the go since like 97. So like they've still put in a bit of graft. Initially didn't really start as a groove metal band. They had more kind of hardcore influences in their kind of late 90s, kind of early 2000s stuff, but started to gravitate more towards the kind of the groove around kind of 2005 on their 4th album. But my favourite from their catalogue, and I think the one that would be easiest to get into would be their 5th album, a little album called Venom and Tears. The band are Throwdown from Orange County. They are still active, actually, to this day. They
Didn't they
put
do like a covers thing recently?
yeah, they did like an EP of covers last year, kind of paying homage to like all the kind of metal greats, Pantera and Sepultura and stuff. There was also a cover of Baby Got Back on there, but we will just skim over that.
We'll just pretend that doesn't exist. Thank you very much.
Yes, Venom and Tears though. Oh, what an album! What a fucking album! I forgot how good this album was. Listened to it a good few times this week. It's just like the perfect blend of grooves and big fucking riffs. There's moments I've got kind of like gang vocals going on, which I never really thought of much when I heard it before. But then I was thinking, that kind of makes sense, because they came from that kind of hardcore kind of scene back in the day. So the gang vocals kind
If you listen to their early stuff, it's all gang vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But aside from that, there's a lot of vocal hooks on there as well that'll get stuck in your head. I think it's an album that kind of, this band, they wear their influences on their sleeve. They're not,
Pantera.
yes, 100%. They're not trying to reinvent the genre. It's a no frills. They don't overcomplicate things or try to be something they're not. It's just like that album is like 50 minutes of just good quality groove metal. As you say, it's very Pantera in places.
I love it though.
Yeah, it's done in a kind of throwdown type way though. I think the reason it's my number 2 is it's one of those albums that does increase the intensity a little bit, more than those last 3 albums that I've spoken about. There's a few tracks where they go like fucking hell for leather with like faster drums and a bit more shred on the guitars. So although it's got the hooks in places, it's also got a bit of heat to it as well. But it's a great album. It's maybe my only like kind of criticism of that album is it's not their best produced album of everything they've done. So that would be my only kind of criticism of it. The production isn't quite as good as some of the other stuff, but the songs are probably the strongest on that album. My 10-year-old daughter's assessment of this one was a lot of air drumming. There was a lot of air drumming during this one. Our favorite track was the first one, which is Holy Roller. And again, the lyrics on this one she got were never will I bow down and shave was the lyrics on that
A
one.
lot of shaving in her.
Yes, I was noticing that as well. All about the facial hair. She also liked the guitars because they made an alien sound.
Okay.
So that was her assessment of that. So that was my number 2, Throwdown, Venom and Tears from, I think it was 2005, I say that was from. Can't remember what I said. Yeah, album number 5.
Nice.
Number 2. Duncan, what you got?
So I went left field with 2. I went with one that I guarantee there's a good swath of people in here have never listened to, like at all. And you may have never even heard of this person, although he's relatively active. This is a solo musician, and he's definitely transcended and moved away from the new metal genre. But his debut album is a new metal album. Oh yes, it is. This is the one that I would use to get people that are interested, like producers, specifically producers, but those of an electronic persuasion. So those that like a little bit of the tech stuff, in terms of the technology behind recording, those that are into kind of, once again, using the proto word out there, proto kind of dubstep, that sort of wave of music. This is the guy for you. This guy goes under the recording name out with this, or producer name of Clayton. And he fronts a band called Cell Dweller, as well as about
he was almost on my list.
Yeah, he's like on about 20 other ones. Yeah. Well, you can use him later on because he does definitely go industrial.
Oh, yeah.
The album right after this one is a industrial electronic album, but this one is a new metal album.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the self-titled debut release of Cell Dweller, called Cell Dweller, because I said self-titled. Clayton with a K. Klayton. He is, I don't even know if that's his real name. That's the name he goes with. He's a very flashy looking guy who has a very poppy sounding voice. But yeah, Cell Dweller, CELLDWELLER, are the name of the group. Although he does pretty much everything in it anyway. But the songs they're new metal-y as fuck. Switchback is a great one.
Switchback is great, yeah.
Switchback is new metal as fuck. But he does that. He's a really good grasp of songwriting, structure, styles, and production. Because he does everything himself.
He knows how to write a fucking hook as well. Like you listen to any of the songs, and it's just like it's in your head immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's been doing it for. He was in a band called. I'm gonna get this wrong.
Dark Cell or something.
Cult of Thorns was his first band, and then he's done Scanner Droid, which is more recent thing. Scanner Droid is for those that like. Yeah, it's synthwave with hints of dubstep. He's done dubstep stuff. He owns I think he owns a label, Fixed FIXD, which is just pretty much an electronic metal label. So that if you like Cell Dweller when you listen to it, his label has about 40 bands that all sound like that he produces as well. But Cell Dweller's debut album is the new metal album. It's fucking great. Like I say, very, very hooky, very, very catchy. But that doesn't stop him doing songs like a track called Frozen. In the middle, Frozen's like maybe about 7 minutes long. So it's a much longer track. But in the middle, it just goes off and does weird drum loops. He's experimenting with electronica and all the rest. And then it swings right back into huge, catchy choruses, of which the album is full of, but has its heavier moments. It has guest drumming from the drumming of Taproot on it. Mike, whatever his name is. He does some drumming on it as well, so you get some live drumming in there. But it is a masterclass in production. Like, it's a guy who understands all the instruments he's playing. He's clearly a very, very, very fucking talented guy. And the later he goes on, the more he experiments with that. So yeah, if you get a chance, it's the weird kind of curveball on here. Cell Dweller by Cell Dweller, all one word.
I mean, if you like drum and bass and dubstep and that, I think Soldier are a fantastic way to get into new metal. Yeah, it's really good.
It almost feels like that's the kind of background he's come from.
It really does. Especially with the production, it's very clean.
Yeah, he's got like by the time you get to his second album, which is Wish Upon a Black Star, which I think is his best album. That's the one that I love. That's the one where it starts to go into more industrial electronic stuff, and it is to me a fucking masterpiece front to back. There's really not a bad. Everything sounds like the score to a movie. But yeah,
and he
give
shot
it a try.
Shot to fame, I say. He became more well known in the UK because he was on the soundtrack to that video game. What was it, Need for Speed or something?
Yes, that he did. I think Birthright was on, which was on that other album, was on one of the Spider-Man soundtracks as well. So,
oh really?
Yeah, like, that only track, and I'm like, I've clearly not listened to the rest of his album, which could have been on fucking everything. Honestly, every single song on Wish Upon a Black Star could be on a movie soundtrack. So there you go.
Pitch Shifter were almost on my list, but I've mentioned them so much recently. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, sales of Pitch Shifter have went up threefold, as in 3 people have listened to them since I mentioned them last time.
They've been on good doing gigs and tours recently. I'm like, I hope they come up with another album.
I'm saying, could you imagine them now?
Yeah,
like with all the technology that say home recording systems and all the rest, I would expect kind of big things.
I would love a Pitch Shifter album. In fact, I'm going to tweet at him after the stream. But where's album number 4 or whatever they are?
Maybe I was going to say maybe if Pitch Shifter release an album, Enter Shikari will stop.
Yeah. Please.
That's a bitchy comment, isn't it? That was really bitchy.
No, it was. That was a good choice. They were almost on my list, because they have gone very industrial after those 2 albums. Yeah, but. Almost, I'd switch back in my mind when I was coming up with these, but yeah, I couldn't do it either because it's a bit
such a new metal riff. You're like, yes,
he's bouncing around your house, and everyone's asking you to stop. You're like, fuck you, it's new metal.
All right, Kyle, give us 4.
Number 4 from me. Hi, Rab, how's it going? He's just joining in.
Hi.
Rob!
Tell him I love that song that he wrote, the fantasy one. That was awesome. It was really good.
Tell him I love his body.
Yeah, that too. From Duncan, not me.
What's wrong with Rab's body like?
Nothing. Just you love it more than I do.
That's true. That is true.
See?
It's true.
Nice save is what you call that.
He was very quick. He was very quick on that save.
Almost like
and he's about to give us his number 4 Gateway album.
All right, this one came out in 1992, so it's very raw sounding, and it's the band's most metal release. So if you're already a fan of metal, you will definitely like this. Dave's like, I know what this is. I fucking hate it. I want to kill you.
Oh fuck!
Is this
Duncan's tripping.
Duncan's on a trip.
Did you say it was an EP?
Yeah, it's an EP.
Right, I know exactly what it is.
Yeah, in 1992. Yeah, it won a Grammy for Best Metal Performance of the Year in 1992, and it is amazing. It's the Broken EP by 9 Inch Nails. It is so fucking metal. The riffs on that thing are insane. Screw you, Dave. You can't even deny it. The riffs, like some of the riffs on that, they were some of the first I learned on guitar right after I learned Nirvana.
Only band ever to win a Grammy.
Yeah.
With a song on the release that contains the word fist fuck.
Fuck, yeah. That's what Trent Reznor says about when he dies. It'll just be on his tombstone. Trent Reznor died this date. Said fist fuck.
Yeah. He'll be buried with his Grammys and 2 Oscars.
Yeah.
2. Ooh, finish. Hearing about those 2 Oscars, are you, Dave?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame now too.
He is. That was awkward.
That was awkward.
Do that again.
No. Iggy Pop introduced him, and I swear Iggy Pop was weird. Like off his fucking head, and just is like, I'm Iggy. I swear I'm Iggy Pop. I have a jacket on. Trent Reznor.
Yeah, like Iggy Pop looked like he'd been like huffing ether or something before he come out there. It's weird.
It was weird, yeah. Anyway, this album, if you love metal, you'll love this because like it's got the metal riffs, it's got the metal songwriting, it's got the metal high gain guitar.
You know that meme of Ben Affleck? Yeah. Zoomed on his face, and you hear that Hello, darkness, my friend. I feel like that's what I'm in at the moment.
I thought you were meaning the one where he's dropping all his Dunkin' Donuts about the place, because that's hilarious. Or he looks like he's lost his keys. So many Ben Affleck
Stand
things.
outside,
You just
smoke
got to
a
get
bag
into good
before
metal,
fucking
Dave. That's
destroyed.
it. Sorry, but
I've tried many times. Trust me, no one has tried with one individual more than I have tried to get Dave into Nine Inch Nails.
yeah.
Because they're my favourite band. And
Yeah.
Dave is like, could not give less of a fuck if he
I got-
tried.
See that pile there? All Nine Inch Nails.
Yep, I see it.
That's it. All Nine Inch Nails albums. And that's just the front pile. There's like a back pile and one behind that too.
I like for context as well about Broken, they done Pretty Hate Machine, which
Yeah,
is like such a commercial sounding
I
album.
know, it's like 80s synth pop. Well,
And
that's the
then-
way it came out like it did because TVT were demanding they did another one of those. And he was like, fuck you, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And that's what he came out with. And it was just like the most abrasive sounding metal album with industrial stuff thrown in it, which was really abrasive industrial stuff.
And I think I do this every time we mention Nine Inch Nails, but
Yeah.
I own the VHS.
Yeah. I got one
For
over
this
there.
one,
We know.
Yeah.
which I mean, one day I'll try and sell, but every time you type in VHS, it does not compute. It tries to autocorrect it in a computer now because that's how old it is. Yeah, like this is how much I love them. Is like I own this, and I don't know how many there are out there, but I have one, and it's cool.
Yeah,
It has
it's
all
awesome.
those things that link in.
Yeah.
Like the bit where and their music videos, like every track has a music video.
Fucking
And it's
yeah.
all, and like some of them are
Some
are kinky.
Fucking
if you're into
scary, yeah.
if you're into Pain and Pee.
Yeah.
So it's a good choice. It's a good choice.
Thank you
Kyle.
very much. I think if you like this, it'll prime you for the rest of the genre. This will just you'll be like if you can get into this one, you'll be like the rest of industrial metal is open to you now because this is just and it's just so metal as well. There's just so many great riffs and great like chanty parts that you can just scream out like fist fuck.
Bye,
Oh.
Infernal Laura.
See
Oh,
you, go to
when is this
work.
one
No,
in?
fuck work. Stay here. Come on, fuck them. They can deal without you for a day. Maybe they can't.
Call
Maybe
part
it's
your
just-
finger. Cage hill part. This is gonna hurt me more than it hurts you. So. It's a good one.
Is that you done?
Yeah, let's say that. I think Dave wants me to be done, so I'm going to be done.
Well, that's just over very short. I was expecting a lot longer than that.
Oh, what
It's
more
only
can I
got
say?
6
It's only a
songs in it.
6-track EP.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
Oh, it's got a couple of
Yeah.
covers on the end.
Draw
But,
it.
Yeah.
yeah. But,
got,
oh, the
uh,
cover of Physical.
Physical.
That's
Yeah.
so good. Oh, if you haven't heard it, it's super good.
And yeah, like we mentioned it before, Godsmack
Mm,
ripped off that riff.
yeah. Everybody's ripped off these riffs. Even I have. I didn't release the song because I was like, everyone's going to know I love Nine Inch Nails if I release this one.
Fucking riff, man.
It's awesome. It's got
Riff.
so many great parts. You got to just give it even just one listen, Dave. Just give it one listen.
He's listened to it. He doesn't like it.
Fucking, I don't.
Like, I'll give him his credit.
Alright.
Every time I've told him to go back and re-listen to a Nine Inch Nails album, he has,
Okay.
and then he's reported back to me to say he still doesn't like it. so he does a common courtesy of I'm like that when he mentions something. I'm like, if you like that, it's only 2 steps over now till you get to this.
Right?
And then I sit in anticipation, and then he comes back a day later, and he's like, "That, yeah, it's not good, Duncan." So
Just not for me, gents. It's never going to happen.
one day it will,
One day.
No.
and I'll actually be angry when it does. Now I've passed the point of being. I
not
won't
gonna
even
happen.
be excited anymore. I'll just be angry.
It's not going to happen, so don't worry about it. Never.
Said this before. Said this before, and you've come round them bands.
No, not a Nine Inch
Takes
Nails.
time. Takes the time.
Anywho. Number 1, gentlemen. We've finally made it to number 1. So, number 1.
So this is Dave getting progressively heavier. So this last album is like Cattle Decapitation or something like that.
Groove
I made
death
my
metal.
10-year-old listen to Cattle Decapitation. She said,
No,
"Can't
Duncan.
understand the lyrics. Blast beats are tight."
So, as far as like gateway albums go, I think the easiest way to help with that introduction to a genre is for the album to have some form of outstretched hand, you know, to say, come on in. You'll like this.
Exactly like that. If you're a groove metal band, the way you want to be introduced to that groove metal band was a high-pitched Mickey Mouse and the voice like, "Hi, come in."
It's
It
alright,
sounds
I
like
get
you're
talked to
saying
Doug.
that out the back have a blacked out windowed van and maybe painted white with a
Well, wee
spooky
Doug,
looking mattress
come
in
on,
the back of it.
it's alright. When you come, it's alright. Don't be scared. It's
Yeah, no
alright.
thanks, I'm out.
Right, we've taken this from gateway drugs to paedophile van. Let's bring it back to bands,
Never
please.
mention the van.
The van's in the background, just ignore that. Take this candy, come on.
And then there's other times where
Oh,
there's no,
he's
there's
flipping
no-
it. We thought
no-
he was doing the pedo thing.
No,
he's
no,
not.
no.
He's doing the serious
there's
thing.
no courtesy introduction or easy transition. We just fucking throw them in the van. There's no fucking, come on, are you coming in? No, it's get in the van.
I've got a knife, get in the van.
You just have
I just got like flashbacks of Dave telling me to put his drums in his car after a gig. But Dave, there's no room. Just put him in the fucking van. He did. He used to get very Ted Levine from Silence of the Lambs.
Really?
Put the fucking lotion in the basket.
Anyway, this
Wherever
is
we're
one of those
going,
albums.
Pixie, we're going there in the van.
Go on. In the van. Just get in the van, all right?
Go
In
for
the
a wee
van.
drive in Dave's van. I mean, that sounds
the van.
not intimidating at all.
It would be totally disrespectful if I did not mention this next band when talking about groove metal. I wasn't sure if I was going to add them to my list as a gateway album, but then the more I thought about it, it's too good not to include in this list. I didn't shake your head, all right? Because Kyle's already done it with two albums, so I'm going to do it with my album, all right? This is that's probably the heaviest of the five, so I wouldn't necessarily start with this album, but that's why I've ordered them 5-1. This may be the most predictable Dave thing ever, but I don't really give a fuck, to be honest.
I wish I poured myself a shot so I could drink it at the name of the band.
The band are obviously Piss and Razors.
Piss and Razors.
And,
The album is
Fields of Disbelief
Fields of Disbelief.
from the year
It's Nickelback.
2000. Produced by drummer Eddie Garcia
Of course it is, because that's all you can hear on the album.
and co-produced by Sterling Winfield, who also worked with Pantera. This is as groove metal as it gets, to be honest. Very, very minimal crossover here.
Really?
It's just
An
grooves
understatement of the day, that one.
and riffs. For
It's a
45
great
minutes.
album.
Yep.
It's a great album.
It
I
is.
did joke on the last recording though when we said that Dave's doing groove metal albums, and I'd say I'll be pissing Razors Fields of Disbelief, and Dave's like, no,
No, that's right, I did.
no.
Because if you remember, I said it's not really a gateway album, but then I changed the rules and I've ordered my albums like this.
Well, one could argue that you basically restructured the rules of this game in order for you to be able to use pissing Razors Fields of Disbelief. I mean, it's well done. It's well done. I'll give you that. I mean,
That's right.
you play a good
Sorry.
game.
Sorry, get in the van, Duncan. It's alright. Alright, get in.
It's kind of like,
That's going to be our euphemism for things we like now, isn't it? What I did with this album is got in the van with it.
yeah. I like to say it's maybe slightly more pleasing than this album fucks. I think that's what the kids say, which is another Dave expression. I mean, a lot of sexual stuff with you when you come out with your albums. I know.
This for me is one of the best groove metal albums, front to back.
100%.
It is the best the band have ever sounded, in my opinion, in terms of like tightness, delivery, quality of songs.
I like how your list actually went through 'em, like, you have to go through the first 4 albums to really appreciate the 5th one.
Yep, was working my way up to this. Yeah, I think it's the band's finest moment. There's so many memorable tracks on this album, and I think that's because they all have their own kind of personality. Although this is like groove metal 101, they still manage to keep each track really unique and identifiable. I've been listening to these guys since 1998, when they released like a track on one of these, like I think it was Metal Hammer. It was like a sampler thing that they gave away with the magazine, and there was a track from their first album on that sampler CD, and that was it. Like I was just like absolutely infatuated with this band, but they've been through various lineups, you know, over the years, which may have affected a couple of releases, but for the most part, the albums that they put out were stellar. This one being for me, the kind of pinnacle of their career. There's a lot of fucking chat going on here, and not a lot of listening. What's happening?
I'm listening to
We're all just taking shots at you now. At least
Right,
it's
okay.
just, I'm surprised Dave didn't manage to change the rules of 2021. Best of the year so far, Piss and Razors. Although, in fairness, Lisa, Piss and Razors have been teasing an album since last year, which I think is maybe coming out this year. So a very good chance that any of the nice words that Dave has
Probably.
said about any bands this year are about to be overshadowed when he just sits there and
Yeah,
a
I'm
pile
not
of
gonna
his
lie.
own jism.
It's probably going to be number one by the end of the year in my list. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Obviously they did reform 2-3 years ago, something like that.
Mhm.
And they've been teasing this album for longer than this year. They were talking about it at the start of last year.
COVID, Dave.
Fuck COVID. They've released 2 singles. They've released 2 singles.
Fuck COVID, get in the van. So you get rid of COVID. She just spoke to Dave at the beginning. He would
Fucking
take
I'd
it
have
in the
sorted
van.
it out. 2 seconds, and I sorted that shit out. COVID. What an excuse. The 2 singles they released though were pretty good, so I'm looking forward to it. It sounds promising. As I said, if you're checking out groove metal, I probably wouldn't start with this album. I would probably go for like a Cowboys from Hell or Red Harvest or Stuck Mojo first, and then work your way up to this album. It is phenomenal though. It is a phenomenal album, front to back. I let my 10-year-old hear this one as well. She just kind of looked at me in disbelief while listening to it.
In a field of disbelief, Dave?
In a field of disbelief. Her highlight of the album was track 2, Forked Tongue.
It's a good one.
And the reason for that was she thought that during the chorus he was singing farting rather than forked tongue. So that's
Such a 10-year-old joke. It's
it really
amazing.
is. I mean, like, grow up, eh? Like, fuck's sake.
Never be able to listen to that song again now.
No, that's it.
Farting!
Totally ruined that. Totally ruined it. So that's the last time she's getting involved in this. So that is my number 1 pick. Piss and Razors and Fields of Disbelief. Yeah,
Pixie,
predictable.
you're not the only one. If you're in the McLeish car, driving to school, it's generally we were listening to like when that Cannibal Corpse album came out. That was on constant spin.
Nice.
I don't think she fully understands it yet, and yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. It's a learning curve. She's only 7, so. Takes a bit of time. It took me like almost 40 years to get in the Cannibal Corpse, so I'll give her a break. Okay, it's back to me, isn't it?
It is.
Right,
Yes.
so the power is in your hands. Because I could not make a decision on this one.
Here we go.
So we can either go with clearly the obvious choice here, or keeping in with the theme that we've already got, the kind of theme that we've been doing already, you know, this kind of theme that we've been doing of picking different styles and different things to get people in. We could pick one for people that how to describe this. This is technically not a new metal album, but
Here
it
we go.
is. It's regularly cited as one of the best new metal albums ever written. It's also by a band who were a new metal band and are no longer a new metal band, but it's definitely for people that like their music a bit more ethereal. So we either go with the obvious choice or the one that I really want to talk about.
Is it Pissing Razors?
Piss and Razor.
The album is Fields of Disbelief. So obvious choice, obvious choice, or album that I really want to talk about.
I know I know the two bands.
Yeah. So what one would you rather I did? Obvious choice or the band that I really want to talk about?
I think it'd be more exciting to hear the one you want to talk about. And then you can mention
The
the obvious
Jesus
choice.
just wrote the Burning Red.
Nice.
In a bottle.
See, I think out of those two, the obvious choice is the
Lisa,
Gateway
both
album.
because we both know you love to chat.
But no, he's going to mention it anyway, Lisa.
Maybe.
I think the obvious choice fits the brief more.
Yes, it does. It does. Or we could just change the brief like Dave did.
Excuse me.
Just pick an album he wants to fucking talk about.
Get in the van, Duncan.
That's going to be the name of our biography. Which I think there is one already. I think there's Sean from White Zombies biography, not Get in the Van. Ours is going to be that, but more sinister. Hers is all nice with like stuff in it. Ours is going to be like people at the window like that. Get in the van. There's no room.
Make room. No, the van does not have air conditioning.
Did we go with the obvious one then? Is that what you're telling me, Dave? You pushed me that way.
I'm not saying go.
I've got plenty I can say about both. So
we know.
I have to be right back for just 1 sec.
He's going to like Kyle is a master of stretching the time out. So
this is so fucking intense, man.
Will we? God, I can't talk about them. Pixie Kyle's just left. And he's put some product placement clearly on the screen right now. This stream is sponsored by Doom. You can get a year subscription to the downloadable content by typing in Metal Epidemic at checkout. That's doom.com/Metal Epidemic at checkout. Doom for all your alien busting needs. This Twitch stream is also sponsored by 9 Inch Nails. Dave needs to listen to them but refuses to.
Dave's listened to them and doesn't like them.
Go on to nin.com and at the checkout type "Why Dave, why?" for 25% off all their merch.
25% off.
The last sponsor of this Twitch is Ramstein. I was going to do something witty there, but we all know that you hate them, so that's fine. Dave is not getting into the van. Dave's excluded from the van.
Dave's driving the van.
Are you? Pixie's driving the van.
Is she?
Yes.
Don't
She's
know
got a
about
clean license and she's trustworthy.
that. I've got a clean license and I'm trustworthy.
You're not trustworthy. You
Alright,
don't
I got you in
Nine
the
Inch Nails
van,
or
but-
Ramstein.
Yeah.
Instant threat.
I think people who listen to Ramstein need to be fucking put in the van.
Pixie's saying that the van's actually hers, Dave, so you can't drive it. Not on the insurance. So there we are.
What?
Not on the insurance, Dave.
This van's my idea. How dare you?
Lisa wrote Kyle is going to go and get in the van. I think it might have.
You pulled the van up outside, Kyle. What's happening here?
Yeah, sorry, I just had to go get the keys to my van.
Started the van. It's ticking over.
So you'll be glad to know that we have not made any decision yet.
I didn't think you would.
No.
No. Come on, Dave. What? Give me a steer.
I would go with the obvious choice personally, but it's
Let's
up to
do the
you.
obvious choice then.
it's
So
your
the
list.
obvious. Let's do it, Dave. I'm cool.
It's your list. It's your list.
We'll keep it for another time because
I'd be honoured to steal your van anytime, Pixie.
So the obvious choice is the biggest album by the band that are widely considered the originators of the genre, rightly or wrongly. This is "Follow the Leader" by Korn. Right?
Yeah,
Now,
that's the obvious choice.
the reason you would go "Follow the Leader" and not the best Korn album. You know what I mean?
issues?
Because "Follow the Leader" is not the best Korn album, but the reason you would go with that is
Life is
because
peachy.
you would. Over time, I would probably agree with you more that Life is Peachy. Even though Life is Peachy has far more filler than any of the other albums they've ever done. Too much fucking around on that album. The tracks that aren't fucking around are top drawer.
Yeah.
But "Follow the Leader" is the album which, once again, is them kind of finding really good production. Now, I just want to stress, when I say really good production, I mean radio-friendly production. So they have radio-friendly production.
Produced like a pop album, that one, yeah.
Really fucking was. And
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons, as history would tell us, that Jonathan Davis struggled to, well, there's two reasons. One, he was drinking a lot. And two, it was such a clean and sterile situation, he couldn't get in the zone. Couldn't get vulnerable. So they brought old Ross into the room, who I'm sure threw a couple of plant plots at him and said, "Your daddy raped you." And he was like, "All right, let me sing again." There are, like, when you hear Ross Robinson talk about that recording thing, it sounds like he literally put them through hell. And before you get in your high horse, Dave,
You should be driving the van.
before Dave gets in his high horse,
Oh, wait, it's like that.
in college, many moons ago,
Oh, here we go.
we decide that, you know what we're going to do? we are going to record some stuff for live music. Dave gives me the Slipknot album that we were referencing earlier on, and he gave it to me. He's like, listen to this. It's what I want you to sound like. I was like, cool. Right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put you in a cupboard, which doesn't have a light on, where you can't see where the microphone is, and just scream.
Yep.
Which is what I did.
Yep.
Now, I'm just going to say, that's not right, Dave. I should have had a well-lit room. I should have had, like, we never did that again. Just do it.
That's why us producers do these things. We get the best out of our artists.
I think you'd read an interview with Ross Robinson. And
Maybe.
Decided that's how vocals are recorded when they're not. That's not how. That is literally.
What
not.
I do with Chris, our vocalist for the band, is I make him do the same take like 50 times, and by the end of it, he's so fucking annoyed. He really yells at me, and it's great. It works so well.
There you go, Pixie. I can't drive, though. I've had a few.
No, don't ask Duncan to drive anywhere.
I am let's say I have a very laissez-faire attitude towards signals, markings, speed limits.
Dave, you're picking me up from the airport, right?
No, Kyle,
You're
that
in
would be
for
me.
the ride of your life.
That would be me. Get in the van.
Right, I better pack my white knuckles.
Yeah. Trust me, you'll need them all the way there. And for several hours after, kind of post-driving, with the trauma still fresh. Right. So there's... To me, Follow the Leader is the perfect one to do. The reason Follow the Leader is the perfect one to do is it's the one that, like I say, it's probably, once again, it's probably their most commercial sounding album.
It's really accessible, that record. There's loads of different... Yeah, I mean, it gets heavy, but it also gets like funky and it gets clean and poppy and stuff as well. So yeah, I completely agree
it
with
doesn't
it. Yeah.
compromise a lot of that stuff
No,
either. So
no.
like, the bass is still really clicky. It's that really clicky, fieldy bassy
Well,
sound.
it has to be if it's Korn. I mean, you can't really...
Well, the thing is, though, if you listen to Issues, not so much, but if you listen to what was the one we were all talking about recently?
Life is Peachy.
No, the one that.
Oh,
was,
take a look in the mirror.
no,
Untouchables.
the one before- no, it's Untouchables. Yeah,
Yeah.
Untouchables, which was the most expensive album. One of the reasons I think the songs don't work amazingly all the way through it is there isn't any clicky bass.
Yeah, probably
The
right.
bass is there, and
Yeah.
it's just not in the mix the way that it's on almost every other release they did. But Follow the Leader has a good mix of that. Once again, it has the crossover tracks with, rappers and whatnot. Fred Durst is on that one. Ice Cube is on that one.
Ice Cube.
Fucking Ice Cube. Fuck you, Ice Cube. But once again, there's so many jokes. He's laughing because he remembers in college, I sampled him on the live. I think it's on the Family Values thing saying "fuck you, Ice Cube," and if you reversed it in the reversing machine we had, it sounds like he's saying "suck me off," which I think is "fuck you, Ice Cube" backwards. Suck me off, and I was like, "Oh dear, that's some weird thing to find on this recording." But yeah, it's the one that has stop laughing. It has some annoying things as well, which are totally quirky new metal things. The album doesn't start till track 13.
Fucking, I hated that.
I hate
Jesus,
it
put
as
the
well.
CD. It's like, I want to listen to this album. Just skip. Fuck you, Korn. Just write an album that doesn't suck, you assholes.
The reason you know that everyone's annoyed with that is that
Yeah.
if you try and listen to it on Spotify or iTunes, those 12 tracks don't exist.
Yeah.
It just kicks right into it. But yeah, it's got a good mix of that. It still has the quirkiness between Monkey and Head on guitars. David Silvera is, he sounds really good in it, even though you can already start to hear the bad patterns that he's going to get into later on with the disco beats and all that shit, which weren't as prevalent before. And it's heavy.
Yeah.
It's a heavy Korn album. Like those songs played live, not the singles, but some of those other ones like Dead Bodies Everywhere, which is a fucking great track. Or even I can't remember the name of that song now, but it starts with him saying "what the fuck," and then I think he says "what the fuck" about 20 times in the album. Is great as well. So I love it. And then it has of all the Korn hidden tracks, of which there are many, as my favourite one because it has Cheech and Chong on it.
Oh yeah.
Odale. It's fucking awesome.
It's so good.
To me, it's the one I probably listen to the most, but it's not my favourite Korn album. It's also the first full album that I ever bought. So in 1998,
Oh,
I bought that
Jesus.
first full album. It was up to that point, it was all singles that I bought from bands and whatnot. It's also the album that I brought in first day of college. I mentioned college a lot today. First day of college when we were all told to bring in a song to discuss production, and I brought in that one and played "Freak on a Leash,"
You did.
which is why for the following 6 months in college I was called "Freak on a McLeish." Because you know how they say high school kids are cruel, but at college you find your friends. Nah, lies. So Duncan, Freak on a McLeish. Yeah, I think it's the one that makes logical sense here.
I agree.
It's
yeah.
not the one I really want to discuss, but I will keep my quiet on that for another day. Unless there is a public demand for me to speak about it.
I was going to say no honorable mentions today then. All right.
Pixie said that she would have fought for me. Pixie? Yes. Dave was the worst one. Me and Dave worked together. This is like my favourite Dave story. Me and Dave were in the same college class, like literally in the same college class for the 2 years that we were in college, obviously. But we were in that class together for about like four or 5 months before we had to form a recording group to do the stuff that we did. And in that time, we both had Christmas jobs, and those Christmas jobs were also at the same place, and we still never spoke to each other. So we saw each other like 2 full days a week at college, and then after that, we both had the same job, except Dave looked nice and professional, so Dave got to work on the floor and speak to customers. I looked like a troll, so I had to work in the stock room deep in the basement of the building that we were in. So,
True story.
yeah.
Oh, we
So
don't
that is
have
a
that
true
one on the
story.
floor right now. Let me go ask the basement troll.
It wasn't far off it. So yeah, that's literally that's it. And the only reason we became friends was because the aforementioned band was Slipknot. Really, because had we not done that thing, we would never have, and we wouldn't be here. So
I wouldn't be
look
here.
at this photograph. So yeah, there we go. Korn, follow the leader.
Nice.
It's a good choice. I think it's
Thank
a
you.
really accessible album for new metal. Like almost anybody that likes any kind of music can sort of get into it as well. So
I also think everyone owned it.
I know, like yeah.
You know what I mean? That's another album where people kind of distance themselves from it. But I think there was
Fuck,
a
I
time
would.
there,
I love that album.
yeah, everyone owned it.
Yeah.
So
I would play that album in my van.
get out of the van, you can walk.
Oh, I like it.
Okay.
You're up, Kyle.
Finally, last but not least, Kyle, number 1.
He's already mentioned Ramstein. He's already mentioned.
Nine Inch Nails.
Nine Inch Nails. So my top spot is now not what I thought it was.
No. And I've already said Pitch Shift is amazingly not on my list. So.
So unless he's going in with something like super obvious, like Ministry or some shit like that, I don't know. Who he's
No,
got.
Ministry didn't even come close to my list because they're terrible.
It's a hard band to get into.
They are.
They
It's
are.
a hard band to love.
I think the last album I listened to them, the lyrics were just so generic. It was just like, why did you even bother? I mean, my 9-year-old could write a riff better than that. She doesn't play guitar.
He treats a guitar like a lip.
I know, it's just
You know what I mean?
terrible. Yeah, that's why I like KMFDM because they don't do that. They write riffs and write songs based on riffs and then shove a bunch of industrial on it. But this band have one album, which is a real shame. It came out in 2003, and it's fucking fantastic from start to finish. And it showcases the strongest parts of industrial metal, and it also fuses a bit of rock and a bit of pop in there too. And the singer is fantastic. All the production behind it is amazing. It has a couple of covers on it, and one of those covers is absolutely the most amazing cover of any song I've ever heard in my life to this day. The album is Sonic Jihad by Snake River Conspiracy.
It's a good one.
It's absolutely,
good
if
one.
you want to get into industrial music, industrial metal, give this a listen because it will hook you in. The vocalist, she's incredible. And like
Yep.
that cover of, what is it? I can't remember the goddamn name of the
How
song.
Soon Is Now?
Yeah, How Soon Is Now.
the
It's
name of Leah Smith.
fucking incredible. It's like they took
better
that
than
song.
the original.
Yeah, it's better than the original.
So,
That's an
It's
understatement.
better than the Smiths version of it.
Yeah,
Fuck
it
the
is.
Smiths.
It's insane.
Um,
But there was another cover on it too, and that's also just as good.
There's three
Oh,
cover
yeah,
songs on it.
yeah.
Two by a band called T-Ride, which the producer of the album used to play in.
Yeah.
So they cover two songs from T-Ride, which is I think it's you, me, and your friend.
Yeah.
And, oh man, Vulcan! See when that riff
They
kicks in?
sampled Star Trek. Like,
Yeah, the strings awesome.
yeah. Called it Vulcan. They were like, yeah. See, it's got like a little wink and a nudge in the album too. It's not like super taking itself super seriously either, and it's not cheesy either, which is the best thing. It's like it's a bit of a joke, bit of a sort of tongue in cheek, but it's not cheesy either. And it's just, I've listened to this album almost every day since it came out.
One of my favorite albums. One of my favorite albums of the era.
Yeah,
is what is like legitimately. Snake, we mentioned them before.
Yeah.
I think a couple of streams ago.
Yeah.
They're a band that I always go back to, and they tried a different singer, if memory serves.
Yeah, but then
and
didn't get on.
Teasing music, it didn't go anywhere.
No.
I'm glad it didn't.
Yeah,
I'm glad
me
that
too.
just that. But
Yeah.
she's so biting as well. I love
know,
the
yeah.
lyrics. That opening song,
Yeah.
like she's like, it's one of the best lyrics to put down a man ever. It's like
Unbelievable.
the chorus is "breed on your own."
Yeah.
Which I fucking love, man.
Yeah,
it's just so brutal. It's just so brutal.
It really is. Yeah.
But it's an album that has like you're talking about pop elements.
Yeah.
Here.
It really does.
I think there's a track called Angel, and it has, I swear, it's got the happiest, poppiest chorus.
I know, yeah.
It's the happiest, poppiest song on the
Yeah.
whole album. So fucking good, man.
But
so
it's
good.
still not cheesy. It's not like Happy Poppy and a Beatles cheesy kind of fucking oh my god way. It's like it's still got the biting edge to it, but it's not. And they have a really good way of balancing it all out.
They cover the Cure on it as
That's
well.
the one, yeah.
That's it. They cover the Cure
Yeah,
on it as well.
that's what I was
So just like,
thinking about. Yeah.
man.
It's just so
C'est
good.
magnifique.
Yeah. It's one of my
Love
biggest influences. I love the synth sounds on that and the industrial elements and like the guitars as well. They just sound so thick and crunchy.
It was the other guy, wasn't it? So it
Yeah.
was the guy that was in the band, wrote everything else, and she
Yeah.
did the vocals.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what her name is. That's annoying me now.
Yeah,
'cause
I
used
can
to
never remember what a goddamn name.
I had pictures of her all over my room.
Yep.
Because she was what was her name again?
Oh, can't fucking remember.
Because
Never
like
ever.
once it was one of the reasons I think the band broke up is like Kerrang and Metal Hammer started using her to do like their award ceremonies, you know, like
Yeah.
the Golden Gods and stuff. She would start presenting awards, and it looked like that was the way she was going, and then the band just. But they toured, and I am to this day it's one of those tours that I would now give a left testicle to go back to go and see. They toured with My Ruin
Yeah.
in Glasgow, and they played the Barrowlands, and that would have been fucking amazing. So
Yeah.
Toby Torres, that's it. Toby Torres
That's
was the
her
singer.
name, yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you very. I know for some
A
reason I
good
never
one.
remember the name. I feel like I've loved this album for 20 fucking something years and I never remember the name.
Yeah. It's because I've got Tari B in the back of my head, which
Yeah.
also brings us to the funny joke of me. Like I posted the link to that King Woman album, which, by the way, King Woman comes out on Friday. And
Yeah.
if there's
it's a
one album you
great
listen to
album.
on Friday, you listen to King Woman. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And in the video we did, I said that she sounded like, I was talking about the smoky tone that she's got in her voice. I said that she sounded like a less aggressive Tari B. And one of the
Oh.
guys on my podcast page wrote, opens up Metal Epidemic review, starts listening. Duncan says, sounds like Cardi B, switches off.
What?
And I'm like, it's my Scottish accent.
Yeah.
I swear, I said Tari B, not Cardi B. Two different people. So yeah, so good. So oh man, Snake River Conspiracy on the list as well.
Yeah, it's
It's a
amazing.
good one. It's a good one.
What do you think about that album, Dave? You haven't said a thing.
I remember liking it when I listened to it, but I haven't listened to it in a long, long time.
Go back to it. It'll blow your socks off. What's
Yeah.
up, Reject the Narrative? How's it going?
So, quick run through of our lists that we've just done. That is our top 5 gateway albums. I will start since I started off with mine first. So at my number 5, I'd stuck Mojo and Rising. Number 4 was Pantera, Cowboys from Hell. Number 3, Blood Simple, Red Harvest. Number 2, Throwdown, Venom and Tears. And number 1, Piss and Razors, Fields of Disbelief. Duncan.
Yep, so mine was top 5 gateway albums for people trying to get into new metal. The kind of remit I took was people from coming from different interests getting into new metal. So for just general trying to get people that listen to radio, I used Linkin Park with Hybrid Theory. For those with a bit of a kind of classic hip hop background, Limp Bizkit's Significant Other. For those that are of the metal persuasion, I used American Head Charge, The War of Art. For those that are into their music, super polished and like a bit of that production and a bit of electronica, Cell Dweller with Cell Dweller. And for the arguably one of the most famous new metal albums ever written is Korn Follow the Leader.
Nice.
Good list.
Kyle?
Yeah. I had industrial metal, gateway albums if you want to get into the genre. And I started number 5, Static X with Shadow Zone. Maybe not their best album, but definitely the easiest one to listen to. I had KMFDM's Howl Rock, which is just a super good album all the way through. And
I'm
really,
listening to that as soon as we get off, by the way.
Yeah. I've listened to it all week. It's great. It's got a mix of a lot of stuff. So yeah, you can get into it very, very easily. Number 3 was Ramstein with Mutter, another one that's very accessible if you can get past the language barrier, Dave. Number 2 was Broken EP by Nine Inch Nails, because it's absolutely, even though they're classed as an industrial band, that is their most metal release ever. And if you like metal, you can listen to that and then probably jump off that and get into industrial. And then number 1 was Sonic Jihad by Snake River Conspiracy, band's only album, but oh my god, do they not really need to release another one because it's amazing.
It's one of those bands when the COVID thing happened, they were like, guys, I should have messaged them. I should have sent them a tweet saying, guys, if ever there was a time to do something, that was the time.
Yeah.
One day, man.
I'm not really bothered because that album's just so good. I don't like if it would be built up too much and it'll never live up to expectations. You know, even them.
It's a weird time capsule.
Yeah. Mm.
You know what I mean? It's one of those things where is it lightning in a bottle? Sometimes you wish that, and then bands come back.
Yeah.
Glassjaw. That's a bad cough under there. Come back and you go and see them, and they are shite.
Yep. Thanks, Lisa.
Cheers. Any others that you want to mention? Any
You opening the door to me.
Well,
see, it's funny because I had American Hedgehog and Cell Dweller on my like short list, but I was thinking they're too close to other things, so I didn't put them on, and I'm glad I didn't now. So yeah,
I had that issue as well with quite a few, because like Gojira from Mars to Sirius was like, I was like,
yeah,
it's a good album, but there's progressive stuff, there's a bit of death metal, plus it's probably not the easiest album to jump into as well.
Absolutely not. I think you'd absolutely have to be a metal fan, death metal something.
Yeah.
We've got another bunch of 45
American Hedgehog.
American Hedgehog.
There should be a band called American Hedgehog.
Happy birthday, Adra. He's 45 today.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And 40 months. 40 months. Subscribe to my channel. That's nuts. We're getting all the big ones today. 44. What was the other one? 47? 47.
Nice.
It's like 4 years. 3 years.
I mean, I think in some respects, I had the hardest list to do.
Honestly,
because
I think you do.
There are so many, like, new metal existed as a proper, like, if we're talking about the heyday of new metal, only really existed for 4 years, right? Realistically.
Yeah.
And in those 4 years, there is so many avenues you can go down. But if you're talking about gateway things, there's a lot of it, even at its height, there's a lot of it that's in there where the album has 3 great songs and the rest, it's the 3 singles, and then the rest is just kind of mediocre. And I kept coming back to that. The one that I didn't mention was the Deftones album.
Yeah.
And Deftones, I mean, once again, Deftones are my top 3 bands of all time. And the reason I put this on here, I don't even think it's I think it's their best album. You know, White Pony's their best album.
Yeah.
It's not their most new metal album.
No.
But if you ever want to really like go down a rabbit hole, try and look at reaction videos of people listening to White Pony, songs from White Pony for the first time. So like rappers or like vocal coaches, or because this is a new obsession of mine. This is what I do at 2 a.m. when I can't sleep. But if you go back and you check out specifically like people finding out on White Pony for the first time and listening to it, what's so interesting about it is people are just perplexed by that album. And the thing about it is, and I don't know if it's because we come through the Deftones we'd made that journey through like Adrenaline and into Around the Fur. That by the time White Pony arrived, the jump wasn't that much. But if you listen to it, it's the most like out of context, different album than anything else they've done. I mean, it is so out there. But at the same time, though, it's the one where even listening to it, and I've listened to it like 5 times this week. It's the one where I think, and even I hate Chino using like a million vocal effects. I hate it. And he does it, and it's a pet peeve. But out with that, like all the other musicians on the album are fucking incredible. Like the idea of crafting sound, like all those elements are brilliant. I think that's what gets people when they, like those reaction videos. You get a chance to listen to them or watch people react to like a Knife Party or something like that. What you get, like people talk about the chills they get, the goosebumps they get when certain elements kick in, and I still get it. You know what I mean? That album is like 20 years old now, and I still get those goosebumps like when you listen to tracks like Passenger, which has Maynard James Keenan from Tool just moonlighting on it because he can. Like those, there's something about it. It is an absolutely incredible album, and I even love the fact, and I know the band hate it, I even love the fact that the record label made them like remix one of their songs, which became Back to School, which is the song I mentioned it before, which they toured on that we saw with Linkin Park opening for them. And it was the Back to School tour, and because they were so pissed off, they did not play Back to School at all on that tour. I don't know if they ever have. I don't think they ever have played that song, but that was the EP came out. Mini Maggot, I think was the name of the EP. It's an incredible album, but it's the one that if you're into like bands like Mogwai and shit like that, that's how you would get them into new metal. That would be the gateway into it. Porcupine Tree that we mentioned once before, bands like that experiment with space and atmosphere and sound, that's how you get them into new metal. You bring them in via White Pony, and then once we're a bit more acclimated to Deftones, before you know it, they're Deftones fans, and then they start listening in maybe a wee bit of Korn, a wee bit of Wicked, Dave, you know what I mean? 1, 2, 3, I can't Wicked. From the Wicked Crew, so yeah, that's
African Canoe.
African Canoe is the name of my new prog band. It's coming out. It's called African Canoe, and the name, that's the name of the album, but the band is There Is No Water for This Canoe. So that's the name of that. I had a list, honestly, sort of like Mudvayne, but Mudvayne is once again not accessible.
No.
Like at all. You're not going to get anyone into that. And the ones that are accessible are not very good. So yeah, well, there was tons of ones I could mention. Crazy Town almost got mentioned.
I was wondering why it didn't get mentioned, but
because it sucks.
Because it has 4 really good songs on it, and the rest is awful.
The one that was kind of really close to being on my list was Iron Gag by A Life Once Lost.
Nice.
I was so tempted to put that in because I gave it a good few listens this week, and there's quite a jump between that album and the album before, which was Hunter, it was called, because they were like a Ferret Records band from like back in the day, so they were very like hardcore, metalcore type sound back in the day, but as their albums went on, they became more and more kind of groove heavy, and then when they dropped Iron Gag, it was like southern grooves, like, so that one was really close. Also, I never noticed how much the vocalist from A Life Once Lost sounds like Randy Bly from Lamb of God. But then when I was looking at the kind of information about that particular album, I noticed that Randy's actually the vocal producer on that album. So it's like, all right, that kind of makes sense why he sounds so much like Randy on that album. But
it's like that. What was the name of the album? Was it Non-Point recorded with Chad from Mudvayne, one of their albums, and all of a sudden their vocalist, who sounds fuck all like the Mudvayne vocalist, all of a sudden started to sound like the Mudvayne vocalist. I'm sure it is. It's like one of those like kind of later Non-Point albums.
Might
when you listen to it, it's just like, what's happened here? You've taken away the best bit of the band. So
why is everyone going about these lights? What is actually happening in this?
You've got lights in the background.
People on Twitch will latch onto anything.
What is going on?
The lights in the background behind you, the twig lights, they want them in the van.
They're just literally lights.
But if imagine you had a van that you wanted to kidnap people in, Dave. Wouldn't it be really cool if that tree was in there?
Right.
And
That
now
would
we
be
want a
nice,
lava lamp
right.
to go with them.
Like,
Oh man,
okay.
a lava lamp's fine until you hit a speed bump and then it spills over someone and they get badly scalded.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you. I've seen enough Final Destination movies to know that's a bad idea.
Sorry, he doesn't like Nine Inch Nails. He'll never get into that situation.
Another ones, when I was looking online, the ones that were kind of being recommended was like Burn My Eyes by Machine Head, Fear Factory, Demanufacturer. But
Oh man, get them to fuck.
Yeah,
Really?
seriously. Fear Factor on my list. What, like, sort of, they were going to be on my list, but I thought Dino's a cunt. So
I
fuck right off.
genuinely thought Demanufacture was going to be on your list.
Did you?
Nah.
I
It
thought
would have been if he wasn't such a massive asshole.
Yeah.
It would have been. But I mean, sorry, I'm just not going to talk about the guy anymore. Astro Creep 2000 was actually on there, but I thought it's not really industrial. It's like
That
it's
came
got
up as
industrial.
well.
It's
That came up
industrial.
with a groove metal album as well. I was
Yeah.
like, what?
It's maybe more groove than.
Yeah, it's like it's got industrial elements for sure, and they do the same sort of thing. But I thought,
It's got a groove to it.
yeah.
Not all the songs, but
And trust me,
No.
I love that album. I wore out my CD when it came
Yeah.
out all those many
Awesome
years
album.
ago. Fucking amazing. But yeah, no, I thought it was almost on there. I did consider it, but a good
Yeah.
shout though. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, you've got to watch yourself on the internet because Rob Zombie is a new metal artist, and I'm like,
What?
no, he's not.
Don't
So is Marilyn Manson. He's not either.
No.
Like I think sometimes he just lump things in.
Thing is, Marilyn Manson, like on Mechanical Animals, I think you could probably say that's got a lot of industrial in it. And that other
Totally,
one,
yeah. It's got a lot of Bowie in
what's
it
it
as
called?
well.
Antichrist Superstar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got a lot. But I
Antichrist
wouldn't.
Superstar is more an
Yeah, I
industrial
think so,
album than
yeah.
Mechanical Animals.
But I would
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have put him in because, I mean, especially for this list as well, because it's kind of hard to get into as well. Like, if you have never listened to a Marilyn Manson song in your life, you're probably not gonna be bought in by that album. Plus,
What one-
with all the
what
stuff he's been
Mechanical
recently, I'm
Animals?
not putting him on any list.
Say that.
No, Antichrist Superstar. That's a bit hard to get into if you don't.
The
you're
first
not
half
to
of
the
the
genre-
album
yeah.
is relatively accessible. The back half of the album is totally
You,
not.
yeah, but that's my favorite half of the album.
Yeah, it's the same to me.
Yeah.
Time you get to the angel with the scab wings, you're in a good place. Love that, man. But yeah, like that's the problem, and I think Pixie hits a good point. Like when we try and confine things to genres, there are clearly recognizable genres, but then when you start moving it that bleed over territory, that's when it becomes really difficult.
Yeah.
And all genres have those bleed over, and then as a result, bands start becoming
Yeah.
almost fluid in the way that they're described.
That's why I felt a bit iffy about Static X, and that's why they were number 5, because like
Yeah.
it was like new metal, whatever, disco, whatever the fuck they call it, evil disco.
You listen to, but we spoke about it before. You listen to, like, I listen to a band like Hacktivist.
Yeah.
Right. It says gent grime or whatever it is on
Yeah.
there. I hear it. I hear new metal.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Even though I know I know the rest, but I hear those grooves kicking and all the rest, and I'm like, well, that's new metal. It's just done in a different way. It's just kind of a modernized version of it.
A lot of time, because it's like it's detuned and they're using 7 strings or 8 strings, that they kind of try and tag it as like, oh, this is gent or this is, you know what I mean? But it's new metal riffs.
We
basically.
can see through you.
Yeah.
But yeah, but there is that kind of, like I say, there's that kind of weird kind of crossover where those things happen.
Yeah.
And plus, metal fans are notorious for trying to pigeonhole shit all the time, and I'm just like,
it's all founded in new metal, all of it, pretty much. That's
Pretty
not a
much,
bad thing though. That's the I think that's the legacy in new metal that no one wants to talk about.
yeah,
Is that it did span off to, like, it got a lot of people into it, even
Yeah.
though it's cringy to go back and listen to most of it. It got a lot of people into metal, and a lot of those people that listen to it now are in bands that are not new metal bands, but are really good players because it made them pick up a guitar, made them pick up a bass,
Yeah.
learn the drums and all the rest. And that's why, like, inevitably, whenever one of these metal covers albums comes out, someone covers Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit. And you're like, oh, what are we doing here? There's only some covers of that song I can hear. Like, I hear you play these really complex riffs, and at the moment, all you want to go is, duh, 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 duh. So it's cool. I'd like, but then you get the extremes. Like you get bands not nowadays, but you get bands like we mentioned them before. If you'll go back and listen to Science by Incubus, it has new metal elements. All that funk stuff is minted. They're like a new metal fucking Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
And then they went to like the bands that had the longevity in that genre are the ones that started off there and then moved out.
Yeah.
Like even Korn don't sound like Korn did back then. Korn have almost become their own little mini genre. And that kind of works for them, you know what I mean? But the ones that only ever stuck to that didn't last very long.
No.
All you have to do is talk to bands like Trapped, Cold Chamber.
But Cold Chamber, when they came out, they were fucking heavy and
I
fucking
love
good.
Cold Chamber. All three of those albums are the
absolutely.
best. Four of those albums.
But then they went on to become, what was it, Devil Driver, and it was like, you should probably give it up.
He went on to Devil Driver.
He did, You should probably just stop there,
give them their credit. Good live.
Yeah.
Songs are terrible, but good live.
A lot of bands are like that, though.
I like what you're doing live. I just don't like what you're playing.
Yeah.
So.
No, Devil Driver are allowed to walk behind the van.
Devil Driver are carrying the drum kit.
Spine Shank, I fucking loved Spine Shank, man. Did I mention him earlier? I think I did.
Yeah, we mentioned Spine Shank in terms of the bands that use industrial elements. Not on the new metal list because there ain't no Spine Shank album that you could get someone into that wasn't already
a new metal fan, yeah.
The Height of Callousness is fucking a brilliant album. And that's the first one. Once again, that's the like go back and listen to that first Spine Shank album, then read all the production notes in there. And that album is written by Amir Derek from RJ, fucking Dino Kazars from Fear Factory, and it is a hodgepodge mess of an album.
Yeah.
And then you listen to Height of Callousness, which is them without those people writing an album themselves. They're a really good producer, and that album kicks ass.
It does, yeah. Orgy were almost on my list as well, but I thought...
Orgy, man after their own heart.
Right.
Dave is sick of me talking about Orgy.
Yeah. They were almost so close, but I thought, there's other
You
things
could
I
only
talk
use
about.
Candy Ass, because after that it gets a bit too 80s pop.
Yeah.
Candy Ass is the one.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, and it's not exactly an album I'd try and get someone into industrial metal with either.
At least nay Toy. Toy's a difficult band. Toy were a new metal band from the area that we all grew up in.
Oh, really?
In and around Falkirk. And
I tried to make a new metal band when I was in high school, and like no motherfucker was into that at all. I was the only one who was like, come on.
I was in a new metal band and it was the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
You dodged a fucking bullet right there.
I'd like to start one now, just as a laugh. Like a dad rock new metal band would be great.
The weird thing is we're talking about that way that it's one of those genres that keeps getting mentioned like all the time. There's that band that came out this year who are unabashedly, I can't even pronounce the name, it begins with a T. They're from Florida.
T-Rex. I don't fucking
know. Tetra something. Yeah, and they hands up put themselves forward as a, we are a new metal band. Yeah. That's what we do, and here are all our influences, and that's unabashedly what we're aiming for. But even the other band that other one that we did last year, who had the
Alpha Wolf.
No. Alpha Wolf have elements, but I don't really.
Tala.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like totally new metal as well. Lisa's saying Rab wants to put forward Green for consideration. Green would be in the groove metal camp.
All this.
My eyes have seen, my ears have heard. Wow! Fucking, I'll tell you right now, your husband was singing that on stage and I was erect. Oh my god.
I'm glad this wasn't the opposite way. Albums to get people out of the genre, because it would all of us would just have been like, every single item on Duncan's list would have been Disturbed.
God, Jamie, were you an engine room guy? I didn't know that.
Jamie lives in and around the area. I believe when the engine room was kicking around, Jamie was living in Grangemouth.
Probably crossed past that on many a night in the engine room.
Yeah, Dave looked like Dave Silvera from Korn back in the new metal day, where he had the kind of the spiky blonde hair.
Yeah.
what was Genetic Blueprint? It changed every year. I think that was maybe the problem.
I don't know. We used the tag brutal core for a while, but I don't know.
You said that without even like cringing a
I know.
little bit, which I do whenever I think about it. Brutal core, man. It describes the sound.
Yeah.
I don't know. Definitely not. If you listen to like the original demos of what we sounded like, which like if you listen to a track like Feed on This, which basically has Joey Jordison drumming on it, and then you listen to where we ended up, which was Vertical City, it couldn't be any more night or day.
Yeah.
Maybe less fun at the end. At the beginning, it was all like samples from horror movies and songs that had lyrics like "kick to the face, kick to the throat, kick to the scrot, your maw." So I mean, that's when you knew you were. And we called it the Swedish song because the riff sounded marginally In Flames-esque.
Yeah.
So that's the Swedish song. Well, we'll give it a proper name when it's written. No, I'll call it the Swedish song. That's how that started, and then by the end we were a bit more pole-faced and really into song composition.
Song composition. Yeah, we did get more kind of obsessed about the riffs as time went on.
Yeah,
definitely. But I thought the riffs got better, to be honest. So
they were better. Yeah. So I think by the end of it, we were probably the most accomplished we sounded. But like I say, by then, like no one wanted to gig or anything like that. So what we're doing it for? So you know what I mean.
Raven, I was telling my wife about a friend I had when I was in high school. Their parents were from Scotland, and like whenever she was tired or whenever she was angry, she'd just come out with this thick Scottish accent. It was crazy. She sounded like me all the time, just normally, and then she'd get angry like, yeah, and I was like, fuck me, I've done something really wrong. Oh my god.
It's anger that brings it out, in fairness.
Yeah.
It's the anger that will get the rage.
The first time I heard it, she was mad because she couldn't find the scissors. And she came out with, where's the fucking scissors, in this thick Scottish accent. I was like, I do not want to know where those scissors are. I'm leaving the house. I live 5 miles away. I will walk.
If I get really drunk, I get a bit more Scottish than I would like. Try and keep it fairly compos mentis. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. The construct of genre is all just it's something that we put on music.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious when you think about it. It's like no one started like Metallica didn't start and we're like that. We're a thrash band. That never happened.
No, they were just a band and it turned into thrash.
Yeah. And that's just the way we are. We like things packaged. We like things like more so now than even before. Like the sub genres. That was I think it was Sanguisugabog posted recently, and it made me laugh so much that death metal has more subgenres than Pornhub at the moment. And I was like, that's about right. And we get these little, because we want to be able to say, this band is this because it doesn't sound like that, even though it's encapsulated in the same thing. The longer it's went on, the more I think Paul Kearney was maybe right that metal only has 4 genres, and anything above that is something else we've added to it. So.
Sanguisugabog Laxon.
I love Sanguisugabog. I like that album this year is, and I shouldn't on paper. I really should not like that one.
I love it.
Well, Dave mentions Piss and Razors. I get Sanguisugabog. Kyle gets angry about drum production, and then that's it.
So I don't have a band I mention all the time. I just have rage at fucking.
I mean, you mention your band all the time, but I didn't think that was fair.
My band. Well, yeah.
That's right. I'm in a band. I forgot about that.
I'm in a band.
Oh.
No, I was actually going to bring up a point about that. Putting labels and genres on other music is, kind of easy, but when you're trying to describe your own, when you're in like a project, it's like, how would you describe what you do? It's like, well, we have guitars and stuff, but like, I don't know. Like when our PR guy asked us, we were like, listen to the fucking EP, you tell us.
Yeah, that's your job.
Yeah, like
your job is to take what we've written and sell us.
Yeah, I hate that shit. I don't know why it's so hard. It's like I sat there and I wrote it, and I know my influences, and I'm like,
because you're not thinking about that when you write it, though. You're writing a song.
Yeah,
you're not thinking about what does this song sound like, or
yeah.
does it fit within a scene. You're thinking about I'm writing the song that I want to write, and that's the genre thing is just like I say, it's just something that's put on it to sell. So
yeah.
Drum killer.
Drum killer. Yeah, it's
This
gone
is
from
what-
dream
oh,
killer
that's
to
easy,
drum
yeah.
killer.
I love it.
Drum killer.
I'm signed into this thing as McLovin.
Yeah, no one,
I should
no
come
one,
in as drum killer next time
Yeah,
I
no
work.
one can see the names that we have on our website that we're using to stream these videos. Mine's just hands up twitchies. But yeah, so what we're doing next month?
Oh, I don't know.
I have a suggestion.
Oh, do tell.
Experimental, what?
I think we should. Get away from the top 5 lists again.
Okay.
Pick another band and do a discography.
You love these fucking.
I do, because I tell you what I enjoyed specifically doing this
I did not
was
enjoy
I would
that
pick,
at all.
I would pick the band, and then I started going through finding the album that I thought best matched the topic. And what I enjoyed about doing that, especially bands like a Korn or like a Linkin Park, of which I'd listened to 2 Linkin Park albums I'd never listened to before ever, is finding out how those bands change for better or for worse. And I think sometimes those are the exciting things to do. So if we can find bands that are in or around the 5 album mark again, that aren't stained a brand new drug for your bean, if we could do that, I think that could be quite fun. Also, it's minimal prep.
Because the bands have already released the albums, right? I got it.
Yes, bands have already released the albums and they're available, and all you have to do is listen to one band,
Again.
as opposed to listening to an entire genre of music to try and whittle down 5 albums.
All right, so it's
Yeah.
what? So order of albums from good to bad.
Yes, like
Yeah,
we did last
okay,
time. You have to
right.
listen to them all.
Nickelback is not allowed. Stained is not allowed.
Yeah,
I
Nickelback's not allowed, but Kel, you have to listen to them all. You can't tap out
I
on the
didn't
last
tap
album
out the
because you
last
didn't.
one.
You told us you never listened to it all.
'Cause it was
I listened
funnier
to the
that
song
way.
with the Snoop Dogg appeared, and I stopped listening. Is what you said, and I was like, "How dare you? That was the best song on the album."
Well, yeah, that's you couldn't get any better than that. So it's like,
Yeah.
can't-
Nickelback's got more than 5 albums, so they can't be counted.
I suggest Nine Inch Nails.
Look at this photograph.
Dave says-
Piss and Razors could be in there. Piss and Razors have what? 6 albums. Piss and Razors.
I could do that right now. I could just do that right now if you want. Those albums enough.
I think that maybe that's the sort of thing that, like I say, is fun. And if we do it every 3rd show, you can get through a lot of bands.
Yeah. Oh, I like the idea. I'll be willing to go through a band's discography as long
Yeah,
as
we
they're
don't
not
have to sort it. We don't
Yes,
have to sort
Lisa.
them.
Yes.
What?
piss and razors.
We spoke about that. You're not listening to us anymore. You said I could do that just now.
Just any mention of Piss and Razors now.
All right, you've read it again. You're just gonna
Yes.
go like 2 minutes. He's gonna read it again. Yes, Lisa.
Come on, it's Piss and Razors.
Yes, Lisa. So like we'll sort the bands out in the background. And,
Will we?
Yeah,
This
we're not
time.
having your
No, let
fucking
them pick,
influence
no.
again.
No, well, this time let's not put a band in that we all universally don't like. That was a silly fucking move, wasn't it?
I warned you. What did you
Let's
say?
not
Nah,
put a
nobody
band
will
in that
vote
we
for the
don't
joke
like.
band.
And
Oh,
then
Piss and
laugh
Razors.
about it. Oh, wait 1 second, Dave. What's Pixie written in the
Piss
chat?
and Razors.
Yes.
Things a sign.
But yeah, we should do that. I just want to see if it works. Totally works every time.
Totally works.
Tool's a good one. Oh, I do Tool.
Again, heavy listening though.
Yeah,
But you
in a
have
good
listened
way.
to them all before, though.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but they're like long fucking albums.
So were Stains.
It's a,
They just had a
it's
lot of
val-
albums.
It's a valid point. Like there was like one of those Stained albums that clocked in at 50 minutes, and I was like, do they know what they're doing? Between the Buried and Me, once again, long albums, but it'd be fun to chat about.
It would be.
Between the Buried and Me.
You could have
Interesting because they do have a new one coming out as well.
Yeah,
it's always good how you can link that back in.
Between the Buried and Me.
Where do you think we're getting this from?
No, he's doing
You were coming up with these ideas
I
yourself.
got the joke. I got the joke. He's doing it. This is Dave's humour.
Napalm Death isn't fair because that last one they released
16
would all be the
albums.
name.
16 albums. Can't do 16 albums.
Not a long listen, yeah.
I think that might be like if we shortlist it to 4. Let's not do 5 again because it's too many options. Shortlist it to 4. Let's try and get bands that have got in around 5-6 albums, and put it on the Discord server as we did before. and whatever wins the vote wins the vote. But no bad bands this time.
No shit, right?
But, Lisa, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I have another podcast, and in that podcast, I majorly do it myself. I never write notes down. I just turn the mic on and I speak, and it's no issue for me ever.
I have no problem believing that.
It's the majority of what I do. So, talk to myself when no one else is around.
I'm just going to start another podcast. It'll be me and Duncan, and I'll just give him a topic and say go, and I'll just turn my mic off and be like,
That is, I love this idea. I love this idea. That's what Metal Epidemic should be. Go for it now. He's sadly he's linked us into doing albums. We're going to be just freeforming it, spitballing it. Could do that as part of our podcast. Because we've got all the other segments out for video stuff now. We can just have a segment where you give me a topic and 2 minutes to talk on it.
2 minutes? That's cutting it.
I mean, I'll have to be quick, but I imagine I can still do it.
The Duncan speed round.
You'd be surprised what I can do in 2 minutes, Kyle. Wink.
Oh.
Yeah, I've spoken to your wife.
I was going to say in 2 minutes, 3 times. Wink. This guy. So yeah, let's do that, and that can be the next one. And then
When is the date of the next one?
it'll be in or around your 40th, buddy.
Yeah, that's what I'm just thinking. What
So
date
make
is
sure
that?
it doesn't fall on your 40th, buddy.
Buddy.
I'm not your buddy friend. I'm not your friend, guy.
Where's the fucking calendar on this thing?
The Duncan Epidemic sounds like the next variant. If you're lucky, this time there's no social communication, or in fact, masks won't even work with that.
It'll only be the 25th of August or the 1st of September.
25th before his birthday. so we
25th,
could roll
yeah,
with
that's
that.
a few days before we could do that. Yeah.
Alright, cool.
Afterwards, you'll be too old to video.
Too old. Yeah, that'll be my
Before.
retirement. Dave's retirement show.
Be sitting there, well, Dave, did you listen to this album? I'm too old for this shit. Oh, man.
Okay.
Which is the irony of that movie. I think Danny Glover is around, like, he's in his late 40s. And Lethal Weapon, and the original Lethal Weapon, and he's walking about the place, cutting about the place, going, I'm too old for this shit. You're about the same age as Danny Glover from Lethal Weapon, Dave. So, fucking horrific. Yeah, so that's what we're doing. Dave will. Where can people check out the old Discord?
Well, Discord's in the chat. It's been fired in the chat a couple of times.
Nice.
Fire it out
I'm too old
again.
for this shit. I'm too old for this shit.
Dave can't even be boys like that. I'm too old for this shit. Drop it in your Google machines.
There
You'll
we
find
go.
us on the Discord.
YouTube, Discord.
Yep. It's there.
Oh, yeah.
Go across, like it. You can put your vote in. Can we limit the votes this time? Because I think Paul Kearney was voting more than once.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, let's make sure one vote's one vote.
Oh, one vote.
Like the Stained thing shot up quite a bit, and I don't know if we could work out how many votes went for Stained, but I think there
lot.
was fuckery there.
There was
and I blame Kearney.
It won by at least 50 votes.
Yeah, there was
50.
Yeah.
right, it won by 50 votes, and how many people are actually on the Discord?
You know what? I'm
Oh,
gonna
no, it
put
was on the
I'm
website.
gonna
It
put
was
this
on
the-
out.
it was on the website,
If you
right,
vote
right.
for the band, you have to listen to them too. So don't fucking vote for things you don't want to hear.
They'll not do that though, Kyle.
I know the word, lazy
Have
bastard.
you never seen The Dark Knight? Some people just want to say the world burn, Mastermind.
Yeah.
You don't want to do it. Whoever voted for Stained, I hate you. Not as much as Dave hates them, because every time Dave goes into Last FM, which he loves, it keeps saying, your favourite band, Stained, is the most listened to this year.
Yep.
Every time I get, like, Apple Music give me a Duncan mix, it just picks like that. There's always a Stained song in it now.
See, I was lucky. I just listened to it from that set you gave me, and nothing picked it up. So I'm just like,
And the worst thing about it is, like, today when I was having a run earlier on, it played the red chord, and I was like, oh, fucking amazing. And it followed up the red chord with the I'm on the outside. And I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? I almost fell off the treadmill, almost died. Trying to reach for the fucking thing to change the song.
Jesus. Oh.
Although, I posted it on Twitter earlier on, last half a mile on the treadmill, legs not wanting to do anything. They were starting to cut out. John Farman kicks in.
Oh,
You're the voice,
nice.
you're the voice, gotta understand it. I was like, what? Which is worse when you're out of breath. If you start going, whoa, on the treadmill, your legs start going fucking all over the place. That dude, man, set of pipes.
Yeah.
Googled him. Have you ever seen what he looks like? He looks like Michael Ball's older brother. Should not have a voice like that. Like, should not be singing songs like that at all. Google him. And be prepared to have your... Because I thought, like, long flowing hair, fucking nose ring, couple of tattoos that says Satan's my bitch. You know what I mean? Like, no, he's the most Michael Ball looking motherfucker you will ever see in your entire life. He does, doesn't he?
Amazing. Look
That's
at
what he
back
looks
day,
like.
though.
He's singing all that
Fucking-
power metal shit. Well,
Back
power
in the
rock,
days,
sorry.
like that fucking dude for the Lost Boys with saxophone. Love it.
So, yeah, there you go.
I've
That's
seen
what
it.
Stained has done. So,
I've-
like, whatever we can pick, if
seen
we can
them
pick
before.
good ones in there, that may be quite
Okay,
fun.
so
yeah,
4
let's get
bands.
4 bands, between 5 or 6 albums. And
Okay.
you've gotten them. We'll give ourselves 2 weeks before
Yeah.
the show. That'll
Okay.
be the cut-off. We'll go away and listen to them. We will bring them back for you, obviously publicised, so you can go and listen to them as well.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back and we'll order them at the end again, which was the fun bit last time, and we'll see how we get on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
It's an easy show to do.
Hopefully, I don't have a
Unless the band's
2-week
shit.
headache this time.
Yeah, unless the band's really shit,
Yeah.
which we will stop that happening this time,
Yeah.
Yes, we will.
Dave. And she the pen! You control the website. You wrote Stained in there.
Yeah. it
And
sounds like a
Kyle
good
said to
idea.
you, what happens if they all vote for Stained? And you were like, that never happened. Have you listened to them?
I have listened to them now. Yes, thanks. It always comes back to Stained with us. Every fucking time we get together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard how bad Stained are?
That's the next klaxon, by the way. Stained.
Yeah.
That's Kyle's one. That's
I'm gonna get a klaxon for the next show.
I think we
Nice.
all are. All our neighbours are going to be like, what the fuck? They'll be able to triangulate where we are.
I'm gonna bring my drum kit down the stairs.
That'll be good.
Oh man. Well, yeah. There we go. That's
Cool.
us sorted. We have
Let's
an
do that.
accord.
Let's do that. So that was at the 25th of August.
25th of August. We can all wish Dave a early. That'll be the early birthday celebration for Dave.
Ooh.
Big Davey's 40th bash.
There'll be fucking lights, fucking lava lamps, disco
Oh
balls.
man, let's do that. Let's get some
Let's do all
sand in
that.
here, and then we can rip the name off an old wrestling event and call it Bash at the Beach. I mean, I've got the Hawaiian shirt already. I'll get the old Bermuda shorts out, or maybe just a mankini, just
Oh,
covering my nips.
nice. I like
Love it. Absolutely love it. Get some of that
it. Can I
fucking
hear a
spray
fiddle?
tan.
Someone say.
Hmm?
Fiddle.
Oh, yeah. This song in the background, it's a remix I did of another Twitch artist.
All right.
All right, it's not like
can't
I,
get
Yeah.
I thought Lisa was having like a new version of a stroke.
I thought you wanted that as your klaxon, like.
Yeah.
Fucking, like the only reason I'm
It's like new symptoms. Like I can smell burning toast. I can hear a fiddle. You're having a stroke.
I can hear a fiddle. He's a bursty layout. He's a bursty layout.
When
back
she wrote,
there.
I can hear a fiddle. I almost put both my hands up to say it wasn't me. It's a
It
penis
wasn't me.
joke.
Mm. She posted on
yeah.
Twitter, who wants to do a remix? I was like, what key is the song? And F sharp. And I was like, 8-string guitar. All right, yeah, I'll do it. Violin versus 8-string
Kyle
guitar.
looked round, the light was shining on the guitar. He's
Yeah.
like, finally. And lo, it has come to pass that Kyle has found a song he can use his 9-string guitar on. low.
And then people are asking me, why don't you just get a bass? I'm like, yeah, I got some of them too.
Yeah, Kyle's got all of it.
Fucking assholes.
It's that way where someone thinks they're being really funny.
Yeah. Like,
I
nah,
used to have
different thing.
spiky hair, He had, like really spiky hair, as in, like fucking out like this, like a hedgehog, and American hedgehog. You know, just everywhere. And I used to get the same guy in the office that I worked in at the council at the time used to crack the same joke every morning. And I had to do like the sarcastic kind of laugh thing, well, the fake laugh, which became sarcastic over well, which was always stick your fingers in the light socket this morning. And at first, I realised that first it was this. It was like, and then about a year in, it was like, and then by the end, it was like, fucking leave me alone. So this has been fun. We should do this again in a month's time.
Let's do that.
You say that every month.
We should do it monthly, shouldn't we, guys?
Yeah.
We should.
These people should come back as well.
All of them.
Fun.
Yeah. Come back. Come back soon.
It's a
King
good
Woman
industry.
is out
Come
on
back,
Monday.
please.
Yeah, Celestial Blues, King Woman, Monday.
Yeah, it's a
Friday.
great album.
It's charting Duncan's top 5 of the year.
Really?
Oh man, I fucking love it. Absolutely love it. I've listened to it too many times. T-shirts in the post.
T-shirts in the post. Look at that. What a guy.
I had to pre-order it as well. It wasn't even out.
Christ.
It's like you make me pre-order a T-shirt because they don't have a UK distributor doing their T-shirt merch. Get that fucking.
What's that
sorted.
about? Why can there just be one fucking place that does all the merch in the UK? Why?
Nah.
Why have I got to order for 4 different places?
Why?
You want to try living in fucking Norway? You've got it easy over there. They're just like, where do you live? Norway? No, we don't ship there.
How dare you pretend that you live in some sort of fucking
Third
third
world
world
country.
country with your oil reserves that keep listen every time they try and do anything over in the UK as a green initiative or a fucking like a cost saving initiative or a food initiative, you know what they say? Norway.
Yeah.
Look at Norway. Norway's got this, so don't hit me with your oil fund. You're all wealthy bastards.
That's fine, but we still can't get fuck all delivered here ever. It's like you want an album from a band that is very obscure and is about to, then they're pre-ordering and they can't. No, it doesn't send here. No, nothing. Just not a thing. I'm like, I'd like to pre-order your album, please. Nope.
Lisa is like
Do
going
a bit
raw
of-
right now. She's replying to people that didn't even write to her.
And you, you've got fucking Ishan. All right.
do.
That's what she's.
I love that guy. That EP was fantastic. And like, but he lives in the country, so I can literally walk to his house and be like, I'd like your album, please. I know where he lives. It's great.
Yep. And a T-shirt.
And a t-shirt and maybe
a
that
t-shirt,
awesome
please.
sweater he wears. And he'd be like, yeah, sure, here you go. And it'll be
Lisa's
wonderful.
Like, I've had gin.
If I want to get a Napalm Death album, I have to fly to the fucking UK.
We gave you the Napalm Death album
For free.
for free.
Yeah, not the
Delivered
physical
to your
CD and a t-shirt.
inbox.
If I want those, I have to
You don't
fly to
need
the fucking
physical
UK.
CDs. Who buys physical CDs anymore?
CDs.
I do. Well, I used to. Then I moved here. And
I
then
get
it was
t-shirts.
just not possible.
That's how I support the band. I buy the T-shirt,
Yep.
which
Yeah.
I don't know if that's even any better. Probably isn't. It's probably worse. They probably get less of a cut for T-shirts than they do for albums.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm part of the problem, Dave.
I'm
Dog
gonna-
wears a sweater. I had
Yeah.
no idea. That's great.
I'm going to buy some merch when they tour. See when they come over here. Once this fucking
Who?
virus thing, whatever it is, finishes.
This
When
fucking
the-
thing
when
you
the
all
band-
fucked up.
When the bands come over here to tour, I'll be buying some merch. At
You
the
see,
merch
I try
stall.
to do that too, but they jack up the prices because it's Norway and everyone's really
pretending-
wealthy.
Dave's pretending here. Let's call it like
Dave
it
is
is.
not pretending.
Both me and you are in the same boat as this one. We're at the stage now that when we buy a T-shirt, our wives make us bin one. Right.
Yes.
So let's
That's
let's
true.
not pretend it's anything other than that. So we can buy all the merch. Every band is touring next year. By the end of next year, Dave, we will have an entire full wardrobe twice over. Twice over.
Yeah.
So let's keep
I
it
just-
real here.
When I come home from a gig, I just wear the new T-shirt on top of the old one.
I only had
notice.
4 band T-shirts before we started doing Metal Epidemic. I now have 12. My wife is raging because I got rid of all those in favour of horror T-shirts.
Nice.
That she's now lucky we get rid of the horror T-shirts. Like, I get rid of the horror T-shirts.
No. Crazy talk.
Have
You've
you
got
heard of
some.
have you heard of the term house extension? So,
Mine just says, how many t-shirts can you fit on that little shelf? And I'm just like, another one, you fucking cunt.
Pixie says,
And then shut the door.
"Your
There we go.
our wives don't make us do things, but if we don't do the things they mention, we know. We know. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to say no more. We know.
We know the drill.
Yeah. So, in fairness, I never really liked that t-shirt that I wore every single day for a year. I probably should wear it right now. Tears and shit like that. So yeah.
To be fair, I have been
The lights.
have been throwing out a lot of t-shirts lately because I've been wearing them every day instead of my work clothes.
Yeah.
So they're a bit worn, so they probably need to go out anyway. So it's a perfect excuse to buy new t-shirts.
All 4 of my 6 t-shirts are worn to the bone, and I refuse to throw them out. Just, nope, ain't gonna happen. I'll turn them into wall art. I'll frame them or something. I don't know.
I said that once about some like really important t-shirts. You know where they ended up?
In the
The
trash.
bin.
Yep.
In the bin, Kyle. That's right. That's it. Right in the bin. Fast. We've just become old man corner now. We should wrap this up. Like we're 2
be our
steps away from talking
podcast,
about the
Old
weather.
Man Corner.
We're
What
2
about
steps
that
away
weather,
from
though?
talking about the weather.
See that rain last night?
No.
The kids and the music they listen to. How difficult it is to try and remember passwords for different websites. And the list could go on here.
I know.
How the fuck do you pronounce Sanguisugabog?
Sanguisugabog. I only know that because Dave said that. If Dave is wrong about that, then we are all wrong about that. So,
A bit loose women.
but going back to the old King Women review as well. My favourite bit is where Dave goes like that. Oh, Gloria Estefan, and I'm like, I never said Gloria Estefan. You're like, I did. I said no, Gwen Stefani. Which, if anyone was going to give me grief about on Facebook, it's not Cardi B. Mention Gwen Stefani. Like, I mean, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, I totally heard Gloria Estefan when you said that.
But I said it rhymes with the woman's name that
I know.
fronts the band,
And I still
which
heard...
doesn't rhyme with Estefan.
No, I know. I don't know.
You should go and listen to that review.
Yeah, please check us out on YouTube and Spotify and all that. We're on there.
Yep.
We're
Metal
doing video
Epidemic.
reviews now.
Video
That's the new
reviews.
thing.
Yeah.
Yes, we have. We've got maybe
More
two
faces.
non-video ones still to go up that we've already pre-recorded, and then after that,
You'll be able to work out exactly how many reviews were recorded on one night because of the lack of change of clothes.
yeah,
Even though they'll be like weeks and weeks apart. Dave really likes that t-shirt that he said he threw out.
yep, indeed.
This has been a fun time. I'm glad we did it because
Yes,
I enjoyed listening to industrial metal for 4 weeks, and I'm going to carry on doing it. To
Good.
many more bands than I mentioned because these were the easiest ones to listen to.
Dave really enjoyed finally getting back around to listen to Piss and Razor's Fields of Disbelief. It had been a while.
Oh,
Look at this photograph.
oh,
I'm going to keep doing it until you hang up. So.
pick a new song, pick a new Nickelback song.
Never made it as a wise man.
yeah,
you
we
go.
can tell. Oh. All right, so next month it's one band's discography. We'll
Yes.
let you know who, and get in the Discord if you're not, and you can vote for who we
Yeah,
listen
get
to.
in the Discord, man. That's where the cool kids hang out. That's where it all happens.
Yeah.
Never been.
Some of them aren't even kids.
ashamed of a sentence
All the
right now.
shiz.
What are you doing with that? Shiz, like a fucking, like a Snoop Dogg reference from 1999. Well played, Dave. Well
You're so
played.
fucking up to date.
Do it, kids. It'll be rad. What are we doing here?
Oh,
What the fuck are
man.
we doing here, Dave? Bring it in.
On that spicy note, good night.
Bye.
Good night. God bless.
and all that stuff.
And take care of yourself and each other. Gone total 90s Jerry Springer. Yeah, thank you for watching our stream. Much appreciated. We love you long time. We shall see you. Don't know. We'll see you at the end of August. There'll be a link. There'll be a link for
Make it end.
the vote.
End.
End.
Bye.
Bye.